thought you were one of the cool kids.
Everybody knows Betty Spaghetti.
Everybody who's anybody knows Betty Spaghetti.
Unless you're a total square, of course.
I don't know Betty Spaghetti.
Guess that means you're not a cool kid.
No!
Betty Spaghetti, the fucking doll.
God, was it?
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't recognize Betty Spaghetti at all. So
My first instinct was, isn't that a Filipino, like the Jollibee mascot? One of them, you know how like there's Ronald McDonald, the Grimace, and Birdie in McDonald's.
Oh God.
Jollibee has
No, Betty Spaghetti is definitely a doll, and they look
yeah,
horrifying.
Yeah, the ones that have like red yarn for hair, right?
yeah. That was my second guess. It's the fucking
no,
doll.
the red yarn for hair is oh my God, what are they
Raggedy
called?
Ann.
Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Oh god, yeah, Betty Spaghetti is horrifying.
Yeah.
Betty Spaghetti has like
Just sticks.
noodly, yarny looking hair, but also like noodly arms and legs too. Like everything is just way too noodly about these ladies.
Yeah, almost like spaghetti.
Yeah,
They're like
But no,
spaghetti Bettys.
I had totally forgotten about Betty Spaghetti, the merchandised doll from Mattel, until you just said that.
Why are we plugging this? We can't do
I-
this.
Betty Spaghetti trademarked by Mattel, 1994. But no, I just okay. Did you guys ever hear of or watch the show The Tester?
No. What the fuck is the tester?
Okay, so it was like a reality TV show. I think it was way back like when the PS3 was first coming out, or maybe it was the PS4. But anyway, it was like a reality TV thing back when some new Sony console was coming out, and they got a bunch of people on, and including Ego Raptor. And it was just like a bunch of gamers in a house, and like they did challenges that had nothing to do with gaming, like shooting watermelons out of slingshots and shit. And there was this one like clip of dumb shit that's got said in the show that I watched way too often way back when, and there was this guy that was just like hyping himself up in like reality show fashion, and he's like, they're going on to a challenge, and it cuts to him, and he's like, I'm ready like Betty Spaghetti.
Excellent.
It's stuck with me for like probably 15 years of my goddamn life.
I'm gonna say, it sounds like it has been burned in pretty deep, and I can't judge because I've got all sorts of shit like that.
Deep, man. I'm sorry for exposing you all to it.
Totally fine. Probably gonna be a little bit of a shorter session, and we'll most likely be off next week for FWA, but I wanted to make sure that we got this all closed up before that happens, because we left off right in the middle of some shit.
This should be pretty quick, because I assume the Wandering Sun crashes and we all die, and the campaign's over.
Exactly.
It's a hot air balloon. Hot air balloons don't just, like, crash and burn.
I know, but we are like parachute style corkscrewing down or something.
You guys worry too much about dying.
We'll survive. The millions of slaves out here probably won't.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
the
I'll be
tricky
fine.
part.
I and Ordo, in character, have fallen off of an airship into the sea, all ready to begin this campaign, and it was fine.
Well, okay, there was a little bit of story hand-waving going on, and those training wheels are long gone.
Ace
I don't need
and I
training wheels
jumped
anymore.
into
I'm a
the
long
sea.
death monk.
True.
You can cause me to take 1,200 points of damage, and I'll just not die. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Isn't it great?
The magic,
It's the best.
the magic of magic.
It's insane to me that long death doesn't give a caveat of, like, not killed outright. Or, like, a maximum threshold for the damage. Like, I mean, any reasonable DM would be like, if you get sucked into a black hole, you die. But, like,
I mean,
if rules is written, if I took 2,000 points of damage, I could just spend a key and not, like, just be at a hit point.
I mean, I feel like any reasonable DM would be like, oh yeah, that's like the equivalent of a 4th level spell. Like, if every wizard in the world can do it, why shouldn't a monk be able to do it? But yeah, when we left off, you guys had just hit the very climax of an intense battle inside the Wandering Sun. Anton was slain, and then, as best as you could tell, something similar. Ace was able to see with his true sight that something pretty grievous happened to his soul. It seemed that the image of Ozymandias that had been summoned was kind of like, well, you blew that, and then snatched him and tore him screaming off into a portal, and has now disappeared, leaving you guys, the unmanned Storm Titan, the two copies of the Black Zephyr, one of which is manned by Leah, and the other which there's a bunch of you on, but you know, it's kind of just free flying currently.
Oh god.
It also took like 260 of its 300 points of damage a second ago.
Did. So it's also in terrible shape. The hull is nearly blown open. But then to make things worse, you can see that at the very center of this storm, the tower, the fortress that you guys just came out of, is beginning to list and tilt to the side. The crystal at its top, which has been disconnected, is starting to show cracks and strains in the filigree that is keeping it upright. And you can feel that the entire balloon, and by extension, the entire Wandering Sun, this city that has been built on wooden rings around it, is beginning to fall. It is falling at parachute rates. It's not quite terminal velocity. But for an entire city to be moving at parachute speeds towards the open ocean, hours away from the nearest land,
We're hours away from land.
yeah, you guys are like, okay, so as a reminder, you guys are in the channel to the west of Deltana. The land, like, you can see land to the northeast. It's probably about 10 miles away, up to the northeast. Or alternatively, you could try to make a jump down to Valdalance, but that's going to be a little bit further. Probably a good 15 to 20 miles, if I had to guess. So yeah, you guys are over open ocean. And the entirety of the Wandering Sun is beginning to drift. What do you guys do?
Wait, so real quick recap. What's causing us to fall?
Gravity.
Gravity, yeah, as
I
best as you
mean,
can tell.
what was preventing us from falling before?
I think it is a very reasonable thing that you could just deduce based on what you've seen. The air elementals were being enslaved by this giant pink crystal that you've disconnected. Most notably, the Raiju was the most powerful and largest air elemental in this balloon. And you saw that Raiju came over, tried to help you for a little bit, realized he couldn't hurt Anton, and then jumped into the back of Vasu, kind of right between his shoulder blades.
God.
And one of his
Was
arms,
I awake for that?
No,
you
you were not.
You responded to it.
You responded
Did
to
you?
it, but you might have been in your twilight phase in a fugue state. Yeah. So
You make me sound like such an old man.
well,
Oh, that was just Philo in his twilight phase. He wasn't quite asleep, but he may as well have been.
You
To be
do
fair,
have-
though,
you
you
just
actually
He
don't
just
remember a
dozes
thing that
off
happened.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm playing the victim here, but it's 100% accurate.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're having a sundowner's moment.
Sundowners movie.
But yeah, for real though, you like you're still in your avatar state, and one of the arms, the one that corresponds to the Raiju, is kind of freaking the fuck out. There's lightning crawling over the entire arm. You feel empowered, potentially because you've got a quarter of the locust inside of you.
I think
That's
you can
cool
do
as
it.
hell.
Maybe keep this thing from falling into the sea with that
I'll-
power.
I'll do my best, but I might need some help.
Alright.
And then I'm gonna first just use my ludicrous natural flying speed and whatever other movement I get from this avatar state. I don't think it actually makes my fly any faster, but I'm
I think your
gonna
base is faster.
I'm gonna like fly to the opposite side of the falling big ass balloon of like
We're
the side-
inside the balloon.
Well, like I said, ludicrous flying speed.
You do have a ludicrous flying speed. Are you trying to get to the outside or just like to the opposite side of the balloon?
The outside, man.
Okay, so you have two options. One is
Puncture the balloon.
one is to
Not
fly back out through the fortress, which is going to take much longer. You basically have to fly to the center of the balloon, through the fort, back out, and then to the outside of the balloon. Or, like they said, you can try to puncture the balloon, which is much faster. You're right near the edge of the balloon.
But that sounds like a bad idea.
No, it's not. Just puncture it. It's already falling. Just pop it. It doesn't have anything in it.
But you
It had-
see, but
It's
you
a
see
flat balloon anyway.
the plan that I have to hopefully help the rest of you schmucks from just falling into the ocean and dying because you don't have a fly speed or a swim speed or whatever. Is
I have
to,
both though.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, not the rest of you schmucks. Every schmuck but, like, 3 of the party members, I guess. Like, there are a lot of slaves and stuff here that I'm trying to save, too. Look at the bigger picture, Nordo. Come on.
I'm nomad.
I'm talking to Nordo right now, though.
Okay. Wait, no.
But yeah, my plan is to get... I mean, I'll start doing the other part of the plan as I'm making my way to the outside of the balloon without piercing it, hopefully.
Sure.
But the idea is to use my empowered Raiju arm and also just like, my Avatar of the Elements shit to like talk to all these air elementals that have been released but are hopefully somewhat still kind of nearby, and just maybe like try to help them, try to persuade them to help us, like, hey, we saved you from this. Get us to shore at least, so all these people don't die, and then go fuck off and do whatever you want, man. You earned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
think they're all inside the balloon still.
Yeah, I don't know that though.
You,
But
you do definitely know that there are still thousands of them inside of this balloon, and the reason that you know this is because as soon as Anton died and the crystal was shattered, these just regular ass air elementals that were fighting you turn to the one remaining Ginny over here and just tear him to shreds in front of your eyes. They devour him.
okay.
And they seem to have the wherewithal to not attack you or your friends.
Well, then yeah, if a lot of them are inside here already, they can probably hopefully help steer the balloon from the inside a little bit. So yeah, I'm just gonna do whatever I can to
Sick.
hopefully help that.
Earlier,
Give me-
we
go ahead.
spotted. If I can interrupt, earlier we spotted Sundowner Rex himself from our first ship. Do we see him nearby still? Also.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. This is going to be very difficult. First of all, just because he might not be nearby, and second, because even if he is, he's invisible.
Oh.
Give me a. Well, I'm going to do a luck check. You give me a perception check.
Oh, yeah, I forgot it was only Ace that saw him because Ace can only see invisible shit.
Right.
It's good perception though.
Hot damn.
You don't see any immediate sign of him, but it would be very difficult just based on the nature of him being totally invisible and this being huge.
To the extent that I can like give Vasu a help action, I'll just kind of, because I know he was here because Ace mentioned it, so I'll just like shout out in Primordial something along the lines of just help with one last time, favor for an old friend.
Excellent. Vasu, go ahead and give me persuasion, and you can do it with advantage because Norda is helping.
Hell yeah.
While that's going on, may I jump down or like float down to the remains of Anton?
Yes. It's a little difficult because you have to get away from the Storm Titan, which is like fucking free spinning. But I assume Ace is going to come over here and try to stabilize it.
I think Mr. White has done that at this point.
Excellent. Between the two of them, especially Mr. White having sailing experience, they're able to get the Storm Titan stable. You're able to get down to the body, and Vasu begins to call out with Norda's help in Primordial. At first, there's almost like an indifference, like these things are just hell-bent on destroying the things that have wronged them. Which, for a short moment, like it starts with the Ginny, and then it starts, they start to make their way over towards the Storm Titan, and they begin like ripping it apart plank by plank, bolt by bolt, ripping at one of these wings, colliding. There's like these brassy gong impacts.
Oh no, leave them alone!
But then Vasu begins to call out for their help, for one last assistance, and then freedom. And there's a moment or two where everything seems to just ignore him. But then Vasu goes to like repeat himself. And this time, Vasu, when you go to speak, what comes out through your own mouth is a lion's roar that fills this balloon. A crash of lightning that bursts out from your shoulder blades like wings. And there is like a stillness and a respect for everything around you as the winds just go calm for a moment. There's this eerie silence. But then, they begin to respond. You can see they pull away from the ship. They begin to press back against the edges of the balloon. You can kind of hear the rippling of canvas and leather as it almost seems to slowly reinflate itself. And it does catch. There's kind of a shifting of weight under your feet as suddenly the wandering sun is lifted once more, or at least stabilized. And you get a sense the communication between you and this bit of Bjarl inside of you is a little telepathic, a little feelsy-wheelsy, a little bit key-based. But you feel like they are...
I'm winging it.
Yeah, you're winging it, and they seem to be respecting your authority, at least for the moment. You know enough about this just based on your background and your education. These things want to be free, and they will respect you until you impede that. You're helping free them, and they will work with you towards that end. But they are eventually, they want to be free, and they want to make this as quick as they can.
Just help me out a little bit more. Also, real quick, important question: is the Raijin or is it the Raiju? Which one do I have right now?
The Raiju.
The Raiju, was that a lion or a tiger?
It's a big cat. It's kind of generic. It has like the tufts of a tiger, but then it certainly sounded like a lion's roar. It's kind of.
Does it have stripes?
Does it have stripes? You know what? Fuck yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. I'm going to headcanon that while I'm empowered by the Raiju's spirit, my tiger stripes on my lower body griffin half just turn into fucking lightning bolts.
Oh my god, yeah. Absolutely.
And they look cool as hell.
Fuck yes, I'm so
Just like
Please.
Killua.
Please
Who?
play that video from Moat while you have that visual.
Yes,
I did.
Perfect.
Like that.
Perfect.
That definitely helped.
Shit. I can't watch it because remind me to check it afterwards. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think it's copyrighted or anything.
There's no way. It's just like a lion roaring. with,
Yeah,
like,
you can,
Oh,
you
okay,
can totally
okay.
play it. It'll be fine.
All right, gotcha.
If somebody copyright claims you on that,
If
they have too much time on their hands.
If someone copyright claims stock Lion Roar and stock Thunderbolt combined together, I swear.
They very well may, but we'll fuck with it later. For now, Gale, what's up?
It's my time to shine, fuckers.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Praise be.
Alright. So, clearly... So the way that hot air balloons work is just filling it with something that's, like, less dense than the surrounding area. So, I'm just gonna cast Skywrite and fill it with cloud.
Hell yeah! You can't say we're not this guy.
I love
It's the
this.
second time Skywrite has been used to just really think outside the box.
You know what? I love it. I'm just gonna let this work. I'm not gonna make.
What do you write?
It's okay. It's okay. I don't actually have it prepared for some fucking reason. I have
What
prepared
is
it.
your signature spell?
I've prepared it every time that we have been on the airship, just in case we get like stranded somewhere or some shit. And for whatever reason, this time I was just like, nah, fuck it.
We couldn't possibly need it this time.
Yeah.
No, when we're in the sky.
You know what? I love it. I'm just gonna let it happen. You can
Thank
pull
you.
from your.
You had a short rest potion. There was a time at some point.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Sure.
You could have
I now
theoretically
imagine that Gale just takes a deep breath and sits on the floor, and then like that Yoshi scream video, the Skywrite just comes out of his mouth, and it's just.
What's it say in the Skywrite?
Just
That's all. It's just a bunch of A's.
just scream.
It's like someone just held the A button on the
They're-
keyboard.
I imagine they're basically illegible because they're all like bouncing into each other at this point, but
Vasu, as you're beginning to execute your plan and slip out through the fortress to go check out the outside, when you get outside, you can see at the doors of the fort, there's obviously a massive commotion going on, even down here on the very lowest deck. You can see that people are kind of beginning to evacuate. There are these bizarre kind of like air balloon lifeboats that they're beginning to inflate or activate with some magic and board people onto. Give me a perception check.
Norda, would you like those shut down? Or do you want them to survive?
Boy.
Sorry, I was watching the Yoshi video. You said perception check.
Give me a perception check.
Depends on who's getting on them. If it's slavers trying to get out of here, then keep them here.
Yeah.
I got
well,
business
If you
to
see
pay.
anybody getting on those lifeboats that you don't want on those lifeboats, you just give me the word.
I said I
and-
can't see anything. I'm still
Yeah,
inside.
he's still inside, but Vasu sees a lot and is able to relay some things. And also, so in order, the first thing you see is lots of people getting onto these emergency lifeboats, which are just like miniature air balloons, basically. The next thing that you can tell is that it's the business owners, it's the people in charge. It's definitely not a women and children first situation here. It's the wealthy get out first, and the slaves are gonna most likely be stuck on this thing.
Oh, thank God.
The second thing that catches your eye is sort of a confused mount that you recognize as Moats. That is, first of all, covered from the snout up to its cheeks in like powdered sugar, and
Oh no.
has like a saddlebag
no.
kind of thrown over its back that is just filled with pastries. You can see that
I
there's like
assume
this...
I recognize it as delicacy stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Or-
And you can also see that it is currently running from a pair of what appear to be like kind of like fey little goblin elf things, like gnomes or sprites or fairies or something along those lines, that are like chasing it through the streets in the middle of all of this chaos. One of them's got like a baker's rolling pin, and the other one's got like a really big pair of like shearing scissors. And it is just like hoofing it, trying to... It's like checking doors. You can tell that it's trying to find all of you guys, and it doesn't...
Did it steal cocaine? What is it doing?
Does he see Mac by any chance?
Yes, Mac is absolutely out there. You can see that he's like in one of the lifeboats, and he's got it almost entirely to himself. And they're like, you gotta go. And he's like leaning over like, there's room in here, get in here with me, it'll be okay. He's like trying to grab people and put them in with him, and they're like trying to tell him to shove off because it's not going to support that much.
Aw.
Yeah, he's getting in the balloon.
Is he like trying to actually help people, or like
No,
oligarchs?
he's like trying to help the people he recognizes. Like, yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be his oligarch friends.
I have two things.
Sure.
They're both a bonus action on my turn, so it's probably going to be 2 turns. First off, how far away is Moat's Mount and these horrible little goblins chasing?
You see him like a couple 100 feet away.
Okay. How close are these lifeboats with all the rich people?
Like 90, maybe 100 feet away.
No problem. Okay. So first, I'm gonna do what I can as a main action while I'm right outside of this balloon to just kind of like, again, you know, flex my lightning tiger authority and be like, hey, air elementals, stop this balloon from crashing and killing everybody.
Excellent.
I don't know what you want me to give for that.
You kind of already got that taken care of from the inside. Like, a lot of them are pressing up from the inside, just trying to stop this thing from going down. And it seems to be working. They're keeping it aloft.
Cool.
Between
and
that
then,
and the sky, right?
you said the lifeboats were like 90 feet away or something?
Yeah, the closest ones are about 90 feet away.
Okay. I'm going to fly. Actually, I assume I had to use all of my movement to get out here this turn, right?
We're kind of a little wibbly wobbly on. We're out of initiative, so you can fly around.
Okay, so the plan is to first fly over to the dock where all these people are boarding lifeboats, and you know it's just like rich people like telling slaves and women and children to fuck off. I'm going to fly over to the lifeboats, and I'm going to drop a 15-foot 15-foot long, 5-foot wide line of fire, just like basically right on the docks, right where people would be stepping off on these lifeboats.
Excellent.
Just to like bar people from getting on. And I'm gonna probably take a second or two while I'm flying over, but also continue flying over to where I see Moat's poor little mount. I'm gonna be like, "You've made your bed. You see it burning and falling to the ground. There's no way out of this unless you help the people that you've made suffer for so long. Make your choice. You're not getting off of this balloon without me knowing.
Woo.
You can do it helping us, or you can do it in a bag of ashes."
Hell yes. Give me intimidation with advantage.
Cool.
Fucking
17.
Hell yeah.
Sick. A few of them like start to draw arms, and then you just like drop this line of fire, and they immediately realize that they are outclassed. Especially because as you begin to kind of call all of this out, they begin to realize that the Myrmidons are not helping them anymore. And when you come out and kind of like bolster them, and they realize that they're no longer under control, they like draw arms and they take up a stand right beside you. So now all of these,
You have an army of Myrmidons.
all of these wind elemental Myrmidons that were running the lower deck kind of like look to you and square up beside you. And a bunch of them throw down their arms. A couple of them are like, fuck this, and they jump over and they like pull ripcords on parachutes that they were wearing. But then some of them realize that, like, that's not a wise idea. There are a bunch of air elementals that can...
And we're in the middle of the sea,
Yeah.
idiot.
And a bunch of them are like, all right, what do we do? What's happening?
Anton is dead. That's the first thing you should know. Everybody else on this ship that profited from the horrible things going on is going to be too, unless you find a change of heart all of a sudden. And I'm going to look around at all the people boarding these ships and all the wind myrmidons.
I never liked what
and I'm
we were
gonna be
doing
like,
here anyway.
And I'm gonna look at him and be like, shut up. You know this is bad. You know this has been bad. Don't try to play the victim. Don't try to make excuses for yourself now.
Oh yeah.
There is only redemption for you, or there is a cold grave at the bottom of this sea. And I'm gonna look at all the myrmidons, and I'm gonna be like, help them come to a more enlightened path. And then I'm gonna fly off toward Moatmount.
Excellent. They begin to kind of step forward, shoulders squared, and do their best to kind of corral these people into helping instead of running like cowards.
I know that most of that was just me trying to come up with cool one-liners, but like I'll kind of direct to be like, hey, help like the actual slaves and the people that don't have their own parachutes and stuff get to safety first.
Excellent.
In the event that this whole thing actually does come crashing to the ground, which, we're also doing our best to prevent.
Perfect. So Vasu outside beginning to kind of reorchestrate everybody on the docks. Let's jump back inside to Nordo.
And it's tremendously less pressing, but so Anton, we watched Ozymandias like rip the soul out of his body, presumably, but we still have the body, right?
You do, and it looks like Nomad is flying down to it.
Okay, terrific. I think I finished him off by like ripping a bunch of his clavicle and shoulder off with my teeth or my beak. As his body sort of slumps down, I'll take the axe out and just in 3 methodical swoops. One takes off each of the hands and one takes off the head.
Easy.
And I'll just sort of collect those things, and probably as Nomad arrives, like pick the head up by the hair and just hand it to him. So I imagine this could hold some information we'd like.
Oh no, you read my mind.
I cut it off for you, but I don't know how to read it.
He accepts the head, kind of holds it by sticking his fingers in its mouth, and the really thin 2 fingers comes out of the nose.
I know you
kind of hold it.
You sometimes worry that eating an evil brain would make you evil, but if that's the case, maybe be careful. This most evil man I ever met.
I'm not eating this trash. I will, however, extract information from it. Can we find if there's a key on that body as well? Or any sort of magic items?
Give me investigation.
Cool. Would you like to help me out, Nordo?
I don't think that Nordo can help you with investigation.
Just kind of rip open his clothes.
Right. My score is -1 and I'm not proficient, so...
No, that's fair.
Ace would sure would help you.
Ace probably would with a 26. I don't think Ace is here, though.
Yeah, he is up with Flick on the Storm Titan.
Oh, right.
It's also worth mentioning, Flick is having a more difficult time gaining control of that ship than you would expect, in spite of his expertise with sailing.
Well, to be fair, he's Mr. White currently.
True.
Can I go help him get control of the ship? I'm proficient in vehicles.
Absolutely. Yeah. Give me a check with advantage.
And you can get up there, you can fly.
I can't fly right now, so...
What?
He did all of his flying from last fight by just jumping off the ship and hoping the Raiju would carry him.
That is exactly what happened.
Are you out of mod? I thought you had the fly spell.
No. I had the fly spell if that turned poor and I started falling, but I did not cast fly.
Gotcha. In that case, you will need a way up there if you can think of anything.
I don't think Mode ever came down, did he? Or did he?
Yeah.
The Raiju came over. Yeah. I remember now. That crazy motherfucker.
What a beautiful plan. What a amazing plan. Clap.
So the ship is like spinning above me?
Yes, it's more, it's like fishtailing, whatever the airship equivalent of fishtailing is. It seems that they are trying to gain some control over it, but it is just not responding well. And actually, because this is probably going to help a little bit. Nomad, one of the first things that you find is a bracelet that has a dangly silver lightning bolt on it.
Okay.
And you've seen enough, especially with Gale doing all the research on airships, this is almost certainly a control key to it.
Can I like do the equivalent of pushing the button to make your car beep?
You would know that in order to use it, you would have to be attuned to it.
Oh, gotcha. This thing is just gonna keep spinning otherwise, or what?
That seems to be the case.
But Nordo made it spin without doing it.
Give me. It's an intelligence check of some sort. Do you have sailing proficiency or airship knowledge or anything?
I do now.
Do you burn your channel divinity for it?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. Then give me a check with that.
Not one, but 19.
19 is decent. You would know that is a big enough ship that it's going to need more than just one person to crew it. But that it is, you're able to deduce for sure, just because of the amount of research and investigation that you've put into this with Gale as he built his. It is almost certainly like an old-fashioned ship that is done through animation or reverse gravity or animate objects, rather than one that enslaves an elemental. And what that means is that the person wearing the bracelet has the primary control of the ship, but certain parts of it might still be operable by other people. However, it is reasonable that if the person that is primarily responsible for keeping the ship in order is dead or unconscious, it's just going to be in a bad state until that situation is fixed, no matter how many other people can control the ship.
So we need Mon Capitan's bracelet.
Okay, someone will have to attune to this. Would you like to attune to Leah?
I was going to say, it was Leah.
Can I toss this at her?
Sure. She brings the other black Zephyr around, and you kind of toss it to her.
Yeah.
She
attune to this. You have to stop the Storm Titan.
Yeah. She kind of motions. She like looks over to the rest of the slaves to see if any of them are confident taking the helm, and a couple of them seem reasonably confident doing that. And she kind of takes it, and she just begins to study this thing. You guys know as well as I do, it's going to take a while, but she recognizes the urgency of it and begins to.
It's going to be a while. So when we were falling, we had barely any time, barely any resources, but now we have time. And not very many resources, but that's enough. So, I'm going to use my racial to speak with dead thing.
Okay.
To ask, like, shit, what was his name? I am blanking. Real bad. I had a plan and it vanished. But oh, there it is. I want to ask Anton's head. One of the questions is, how do we safely access the vault?
Okay, that's a great question. You would get flashbacks and images of him approaching the vault with just one of these other slaves, but clearly one that is very respectful. They don't even have a collar on. They're very well broken, I guess is the best way to put it. He leaves that slave outside while he himself turns into an air form, a misty form. He slips in through the pinhole to the other side so that he is inside the vault. They both together move the locking mechanism along a path that works for both sides. That causes the vault door to open. Then he reminds everyone to stand the fuck back while he alone goes deeper into the vault. These two massive creatures rise from the pile of gold, made of gold and jewels. It is, as you guys suspected, a pair of basically horde golems. They see that it is him. They respect that it is him. He fetches something from it, and then walks out, and then closes the door behind him.
Okay. Do I get the sense that it has to be him, or is he carrying something?
You get the sense from the vision that the golems simply recognized him by appearance.
Okay, so we just need to look like him. That's simple enough.
You're very smart. I'm just going to give it to you. You're incredibly smart. They are golems. They don't have eyes.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
You know, if you've got a way around that, then you can absolutely deal with it.
Yeah, we just need to change the shape into him.
Perfect.
Which isn't hard.
But yeah, that seems like a reasonable course of action. While this is going on, I'm going to say one way or another, you guys are able to get Moat onto the ship with Ace and Flick. If you want to try to stabilize this thing instead of just letting it crash, let me get vehicle checks from Moat with advantage. Help from Flick.
Oh yeah.
Does Flick have expertise / can I help Flick? Or since he's not
Flick
here?
will be terrible at currently.
Form, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the right form.
22 is very good. This is going to be a mess, and it's going to be a mess for an hour at least until Leah tunes to this thing. But
if it's if 22 is not quite good enough, I think he still has a D4 if it's been less than 10 minutes since this all started.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this has all been pretty quick. 24 is very good. It is difficult work. It is grueling work. It's honestly, a lot of it is just dealing with the forces of the ship being rocked around in the middle of the storm. The air elementals, although they've been instructed to help you guys, don't seem to mind when they occasionally bump into this thing and throw it off kilter. You can also tell that there's like rampant energy coming from this portal that seems to be kind of like behaving weirdly because nothing is attuned to the ship that controls it. There's just a lot of shit going on with this ship. But the three of you are able to kind of keep it all together, and unless anything weird happens over the course of the next hour or so, prevent it from like crashing while Leah starts to attune to it.
Yeah. So question 2 for that.
Yes.
Speak with Dead. In the in the case of an elemental revolt or a failure in the flying mechanism, what way does the wandering sun have to safely land?
Boy, that's a deep question. Yeah, I think what you would get here is he has a way out. He would take his Storm Titan and port the fuck out. One of the reasons that it is not elemental powered is just in case some shit goes wrong, he's kind of able to get to evacuate. He would be able to see that there are the lifeboats for people to kind of evacuate on. There are a lot of parachutes that are kept for people if they have to do just like an emergency jump. As for actually saving the sun itself,
I imagine it's worth a lot to him.
It is worth a lot, but the issue is, like, the sun is held aloft by the Raiju, and if the Raiju goes, like, they don't have a way to stop this thing from falling into the ocean.
No countermeasures, you idiots! Have 3! At least 3!
They have a lot of evacuation plans. They don't have ways to save the structure, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
They have ways for people to evacuate, but no way to just, like, it's like if a ship sinks. There's lots of ways for people to get off of the sinking ship, but they don't have, like, a special emergency way to make this ship stop sinking, I think is the best way to put it.
It's like he couldn't foresee himself failing or something.
That is also...
It's like he couldn't see himself failing. Weird.
You made the Titanic in the sky. The Skytanic.
Maybe just a little bit. Also, I gotta be right back. Food is ready, but think of your third question.
Yeah, before the third question, I want to go back to, like, the dude whose head I ate. The actual lawyer who works for Ozymandias. Who was incredibly powerful for a lawyer. Which makes sense now, because he was probably incredibly powerful and because he worked for Ozzy. The question for that would be, I guess, that we should figure out the precise nature of his arrangement with Ozymandias.
Right.
I feel like he'd know that, right? Because he's the dude who worked with the contract.
Yeah, he should. We have physically the contract, so I feel like that might give us an idea. But I don't know if it totally described. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
we totally understand what just happened at the end there with Anton's soul.
Yeah, when Fact gets back, I think we can ask. For more specifics, like, what exactly did Anton do for Ozzy? Aside from just his soul, or do you want to know, like, what Ozzy provided? But I think he provided at least this Storm Titan.
Right. Just kind of want to know what their like mutually beneficial relationship was. Like, what were they providing to each other?
Yeah. That's for the dude whose brain I ate.
Right. To the extent that he knows the details of their arrangement.
Yeah.
He might not even be privy to all of it, I guess, but I would assume he is. As the lawyer for Ozymandias.
Wherever he is. Maybe he's just, he seemed someone of some import.
I forgot that we inherited the Storm Titan and all this.
We have it now, we just gotta repair it.
Gale, you're adding one more ship to your fleet.
It's so big, slowly bigger.
Or wait, who's the Commodore? Is it Moat's fleet or Gale's fleet? I can never
Yeah,
remember.
Commodore shouldn't be doing this much work on a ship, by the way.
Or you're still spinning. You're doing well!
You had no problem taming the fucking Raiju. Surely you can tame a ship.
Don't worry, Leah will have visit you soon.
56 more minutes. Just hold on.
56 more minutes. I'm fucking livid. I just realized Nordo is a Ninja Turtle, and your sister's name is Leah. You're Leonardo.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
Didn't even
But he-
realize this.
But he fights with an axe.
I know.
Ninjas don't fight with axes.
One of the battle toads do though.
Was it
Sure.
Rash or was it?
Oh wait, not the battle toads. Fucking in the Ninja Turtles, they mutated a bunch of toads and named them after conquerors, or like, what do you call those?
Are you sure you didn't dream this?
I did. I swear, there's one named Genghis. There's one named Rasputin. And one of them
Like,
used
I'm
a
on-
battle axe.
I'm on the fence about this because I've never heard of it.
Oh no,
Like,
he's
and
totally
it-
right. I found them.
Okay.
I watch a lot of cartoons.
I found it on Turtlepedia.
Of course, there's a Turtlepedia. Oh yeah, them. That's them. There's the one with the battle axe. The Punk Frogs. Oh, it became a TV series? So they were just a crossover.
Yeah,
No invasion.
front and center has a big fucking axe.
That's just Frog Nordo.
There he is. Hawaiian shirt and all. He's tropical. This is my guy.
Yeah. So, you know, Leonardo.
Leonardo.
Leonardo, the
Okay.
Punk Frog.
Because it was a '90s cartoon, and I expect
It's
it
an
to be like a
80s
cop.
one.
Excuse
Okay.
me, 1987, yeah.
Okay, because all I knew hearing about this is that it was a late '80s, early '90s cartoon, and also like in the vein of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Battletoads. I expected this to look a lot more edgy. But this is just like a bunch of frog and toad characters with weapons
And Hawaiian shirts.
and Hawaiian shirts.
And shorts.
The only distinguishable characteristics they have between them are
Apparently-
their shirts and their weapons.
Apparently in 1987, like, punks wore Hawaiian shirts.
Does one of them
These
have
are
a
punk
bow?
frogs, and they're all in, like, bright shirts.
The one in the back with the same facial expression as the other four of them has a quiver on his back.
Yeah, he's got a quiver, so he must have a bow.
So let's see. We've got a battle axe. We've got a flail. Is that one the one on the far left? Is that,
I think he's got a whip.
Yeah, it's some
He's
kind of
got
whip.
a whip. That
A
one's
whip,
the kinky
a
one.
flail,
And a bow and arrow.
axe.
Yeah.
All wearing the same, like, short shorts and bright. They're not even Hawaiian shirts. They're just bright colored 80s
They're
shirts.
just like they're just patterned shirts, and they all have
They also have, like, the
geometric
medallions.
amulets.
Yeah.
Okay, their names are Attila the Frog with a morning star, Genghis Frog with an axe, Napoleon Bonafrog with
Napoleon
and
Bonaparte.
Rasputin. Yeah, and Rasputin the Mad Frog with a bow and trick arrows like Hawkeye.
Excellent.
I'm 100% making my next character Genghis Frog.
I
What?
when I hear an 80s or 90s like punk cartoon, I expect like Street Sharks or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I expect a little bit of edge with my
The
edge.
radical.
Not the
Hey.
same three, like, kind of vaguely smiling frogs with
Slightly
Renaissance
different
weapons and
I
bright
mean-
shirts.
To be fair, the Ninja Turtles, basically you can't tell them
I-
apart aside from the colors.
You're not wrong, and they've only recently been fixing that design
they-
issue.
They've given them like, oh, here they have different personalities, cracked shells,
I mean-
different body types, even, you know.
They had different personalities initially, but now they're just stupid. Now they're all just Michelangelo, but like a
Yeah.
different flavor of Michelangelo, which
This
is
is
real
edgy
shitty.
Michelangelo. This is leader Michelangelo. This is nerdy Michelangelo. Michelangelo is just like, oh, dumb Michelangelo now.
Yeah, they're. I don't know.
Michelangelo. It's just dumb Michelangelo.
It's true though. The only thing they did
I
was
know.
make it dumb.
It's been like the Michelangelo is the next Flanderization.
Yeah, the Michelangelo.
Michelangelization.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to say though.
It sure is. Speaking of dumb weapons, you did also, while you were looking for a key, find a scimitar on Anton, which is
Cool.
definitely magical.
I'll leave this for Vasu. But someone can hold this. You know,
I need something to atone to.
You have that's true.
There
You have
is-
an hour.
There is a burning hole inside of me. It needs to be filled
Would you like
with-
something custom made?
with some powerful magical custom made. You say? How much
Yeah.
time do you have?
Currently, not much.
Oh.
we are trying to get to safety. But yeah, shit. What? A scimitar. This key bracelet, whatever. Oh yeah. So going back to the questions.
Key bracelet?
Yeah, this is for the Wandering Sun.
Key like KEY.
Oh.
Yeah, not Ki.
Oh.
I forgot we had two things. For the third question,
Yes.
we were going back to the dude whose brain I ate because that wasn't resolved yet. And the question is like we gotta figure out the precise nature of his arrangement with Ozymandias. Like, what was the arrangement between Ozymandias and Anton specifically? Like, what did they do for each other, and what was like promised?
Gotcha. Yeah,
That's a different thing from the Speak with Dead.
right. This is from eating the brain of the laboratory dude.
Mhm.
His understanding of it would simply be, his job is to come here and provide technology, specifically the technology that allows them to move with all of these permanent stillstone fixtures, which you would be able to tell from his memories is highly related to this Menoisium filigree. And you would also learn, and I can't remember if you've already learned this, but you would definitely learn it here from this guy. Benoisium is it's manufactured by treating mithril with this bizarre yellow powder that has shown up all over the place recently.
Yeah. Oh, it's been around that long?
Well, that's the thing, is this yellow powder was like nowhere to be found until you guys kind of reawakened the Phoenix.
Okay, but we've been seeing it in civilizations
But yeah,
that were like thousands of years.
but yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. Yep. Anyway, he was mostly here to deal with all of those magic installations, and also the magic that is used to help break and enslave people. In exchange, they basically just they required Anton's compliance when necessary, and that he continue on his goal, which was basically just amass a fuckload of money that we will use towards this ritual.
Okay, cool.
There's no reference in this guy's understanding of like what happens to Anton's soul when he dies. Like,
Yeah.
No,
that's not included here.
This guy knows nothing of that.
Gotcha. So
Okay.
he's not like the lawyer. He's just the dude who came here to work on
Right.
behalf.
And that is also not referenced in the like physical written contract that we have.
Correct.
We can examine the contract more extensively later, I guess. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
I guess
find
we've been kind of hustling. We haven't really read it thoroughly.
Yeah, we kind of just.
I forgot it's
skipped
been
it.
like 20 minutes since we started this. Like, I think in world time, like literally 25 minutes ago, we were fighting the food court.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
It's been very quick.
We've been busy. 3 more questions. Anyone have any questions? Do you want to ask about Ozymandias?
These are questions for Anton now.
These are for Anton now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would almost ask
Him-
him the same
everything
question.
in the-
Like, what arrangement did they have that had to do with his soul, and or what just happened here when he called on Ozymandias?
Yeah. Nomad also asks Nordo, like, do you want to ask him things like, did you like it when you were torn apart by my side? Did it
Boy,
feel
hold
good?
on.
If you want to, I'll happily use a question of that for you.
Just a moment.
The magical equivalent of teabagging.
Yeah. How did it feel when he tore out your throat?
Describe the last pain you felt in great detail. No, Nordo.
Nordo, like,
This is,
hold on.
As much as I'd love to hear his misery all over again, I think we better use his questions, get some answers we need.
I'm so proud of your pragmatism.
What's the orcish word for pragmatism?
Unga bunga, get shit done. Right. So 3 questions.
Yes. So the nature of the arrangement, I think, was kind of where you're digging. You would learn that in addition to the company-wide deal to amass all of this money in exchange for technology, Anton was given a very personal temptation by Ozymandias. Specifically, Ozymandias offered to grant him tremendous power. Some overall lightning magic, kind of like a warlock offer might do. But also specifically the ability for him to become the wind, to become untouchable and free.
Well, that's how he was turned into gas.
Right. You imagine that ability was something that was gifted to him by Ozymandias. In exchange, Ozymandias demanded upon his death his soul, his servitude, at least for a short time. You're diving directly into the depths of his own memory. Anton understands that an eternity of your soul being indebted is not worth a few mortal years of power. The bondage of a soul is something that has a limited duration, something in the ballpark of, it sounded like a few years, although Ozymandias was obviously very dodgy about giving specifics. It wasn't permanent, is basically all that Anton would know. Is that in exchange for all of this power in life, Ozymandias wanted to use his soul for something in the order of a couple of years. And when he died, presumably he came to collect that debt.
And I'm assuming Anton does not have any notion of why Ozzy wanted his soul.
No, he doesn't. Ozzy was very dodgy about it, and wasn't able to fish any more information out.
Okay.
Right. Question 4 and 5.
Boy.
Do you want to ask a question to reveal all his assets and how to take them down?
Nordo kind of looks around the airship that's being held up by elementals that are just barely obeying Bosku's orders and is like, I think we know how to take all his assets down.
Yeah, the new society
Let's see.
staples are all over the world, right?
Yeah, this is their headquarters, and we just done killed everybody what runs the company, the whole food court, except Mac, wherever the fuck he is now.
That's true.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I want to get rid of it all, but cutting off the head of the snake seemed to be the way to do it. It seems as we've done that. I think we'll need to use this to send a message somehow, but...
Would you like me to ask if there's a way to contact the rest of your society staples to give them a message?
I'm trying to think of...
Like, do they have a work email address or a work community board?
I have to assume that the work
Mass
email address
forward.
is like sending@phyllis.com. You know? Just sending to Phyllis and she files
Phyllis
them all.
will add everyone.
We're missing Wendy. That's worth noticing or noting. Wendy is not here.
You want me to ask about Wendy? Or do you want me to ask about our bounties and how to retract them?
I don't know that he had anything to do with that. That seemed more Ozymandias' thing.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm trying to ponder. Let me ponder if I can think of any questions for his
Does anyone else have any questions?
As this is all kind of going on,
Yeah.
it's been about 20 minutes toward attunement. Moat and Flick and Ace are doing their best to stabilize the Storm Titan. It's going pretty okay. Vasu has been able to corral kind of people into just kind of safety measures, getting people ready to evacuate. They have noticed that the Sunder is no longer descending. And Vasu, you kind of get a sense for like, the elementals want to know what comes next. They don't want to sit here and continue keeping the wandering sun aloft. That's what they've been doing for years. They want to be free. So they're kind of like, what's the plan, boss? What do we do in this? Where do we dump this?
So like as I kind of briefly mentioned while I was just trying to rouse them all into helping out, like just get us to the very nearest shore, or at least like make the wandering sun buoyant enough upon landing that it can like serve as a raft and that we can steer it to land at least.
Okay.
There's like the closest land.
I believe
closest land. I don't know.
Is going to be Deltana, but let me double check that to be sure.
I just want to see if there's somewhere that we could dramatically crash this thing into a city that we hate or something.
Oh,
you know?
definitely an option. For the record, Deltona...
After getting everyone off it, right?
Yeah, so
Right.
Deltona does absolutely have a city. It is a major trade city. It is the trade city between Ajabiata and Wellingquet. With that said, it kind of... Boy, give me a history check, Nordo.
I won't. I don't know what the fuck that is. I've never been to Deltona.
That's fair. That is completely reasonable.
I do.
Unless there's something in my background that says I should make that. There's no way he just knows.
Really, no. Somebody else can if you want.
Could I make it? I'm
Sure.
kind of an anthropologist.
Sure, go for it.
Study cities and stuff.
I say we fly it to the Vampire Islands.
We immediately get swarmed, and
I-
they eat all our slaves.
There's something wonderful about Frisk as Nomad using a history check as a how can I cause the most drama check that is like dramatically in character for everything that Frisk has ever played. Deltana is the nearest city, for sure. And it is a major trade city between the two nations. However, you would know that, like, the Wandering Sun and NSS are much more widely utilized over to the west in Willingquet. Like, they're the ones that depend on the services. They're the ones that benefit the most from the existence of the NSS. This is kind of a trade city between, Willingquet and, like, the Wild Worlds. They import stuff from here. They import salt. They import raw goods. But it's not like a big mercantile exchange area. If you wanted to cause the most drama possible, you'd fly this fucker over to Balmoral and you'd drop it in the capital.
Hell yeah, let's start a fucking social revolution.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. And for real.
I support this fully.
Valdolance is a close second, for sure. Seattle would also be an extremely dramatic place to crash this thing. With that said, the closest place to drop it is Deltana, and it would definitely make some waves. It just might make waves in a weird way, where, like, it would be like if you drove to, just, like, the middle of Africa and blew up a Walmart truck. Like, they might know that Walmart is a big conglomerate thing over in the Western world, but it's not like they're buying all of their shit from Walmart every day. Whereas if you try to go to
Do we
Balmoral,
want to cause drama?
Nordo,
have
like,
lots of slaves, and there are soldiers.
yeah, I don't want to get the slaves. The problem is I don't want to get the slaves on here into trouble.
Yeah,
I do
we're trying to get them away.
I do want to send a message, though. Here's what we do. We go land it, like, safely.
Okay.
Like, right outside Unmirage, where we have sort of our headquarters and safe space with Elise. We find a way to get it serviceable enough to fly again without the slavery of elementals. Long enough to fly it to Balmoral. Long enough to fly it to Balmoral and crash it into Balmoral. After we've gotten all the slaves off.
And then we crash it. Yeah,
then
perfect.
we crash it into Balmoral as an act of, revolution. That's
What if, because God himself has said that making it serviceable again would be tough? What if we land it in neutral or safe territory safely, get all the slaves off of it, and then we just launch it? We just launch it. It's surely easier to launch a mass of wreckage and boat parts than to make it fly again.
Yeah, okay, right? Here's what we do. We
just throw this giant symbol of corporate greed and slavery right into the fucking heart of it with a note that says, like, this is what it amounts to without the blood that runs your veins.
Do you think we can try Miss My House?
We can try.
This is a residential area. Can we?
This is the same plan, but this will work. So we take it to Unmirage, we get all the slaves off, everyone's safe, we find out a way to send all the slaves to their respective homes so they can have nice lives again, etc. Then we use, like, very thin, weak yarn, thread even, to attach the Wandering Sun to the bottom of the Crescent King. We get on the Crescent King, we teleport to just above Balmoral. The Wandering Sun falls because it's attached by very thin threads, they just break. And then it falls onto Balmoral.
I know lots of really good people there.
There are a lot of innocent people.
Well, okay, we make sure to do it, like, over with the NSS the NSS facility in Balmoral or whatever.
How big is the Wandering Sun? It's as big as a city. We're dropping a city on top of a city.
Yeah, but
I
we,
don't
we, we make sure to do it above, like, we don't do it above any residential areas. We do it above, like, the capital district. The
Okay,
financial
Why don't we
maybe we
just
don't-
drop it like
So, like,
outside
at
the
worst-
border?
at
just-
worst-
Yeah, I was gonna
border,
say
yeah.
maybe we don't
Yeah,
drop it on the
Worst,
city.
we
We drop it like
destroy
outside.
a few towers.
Yeah,
Drop it outside
maybe
the city
we don't.
walls.
Maybe we don't 9/11.
Maybe we just drop it outside the city walls as a message.
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
that works
I
if
was
you want to
gonna
be a pussy about your.
I'd rather not be a
revolutionary
pussy.
message.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, but I'm being overruled here.
I would rather not kill lots of
D&D,
people.
where we can live out all of our fantasies, like committing terrorism.
It's terrorism. It's not terrorism if it's for a better purpose, right?
Look, history is
I'm
written by
not
the
sure that
victors.
that's-
We will decide if this is terrorism in
Thank you.
retrospect.
It's
Well, first of all-
vigilanteism. It's a protest.
There were innocent people in Williquid and Balmoral.
We do it outside of the
Vigilant
city
terrorism?
of Balmoral to send a message to the political and social elites that, your slavery-based economy isn't okay.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
keep it up, we're going to burn your city too.
You know
Or
how
we could just try to avoid a lot of collateral damage and start a hashtag movement on Twitter.
in
And then nothing would ever happen.
in every
Just
Marvel
the
movie
birds.
that has ever been made, the villains are like totally reasonable and arguably correct, but then they blow up an orphanage for no reason to reinforce that they're the bad guys.
What is that? What we're doing?
You guys are dangerously close to blowing up an orphanage
Are we-
to reinforce that you're the
Are-
bad guys.
Are we the bad guy?
No,
No, we're not. We just freed all the
Yes.
slaves.
it's
We
but
save
Alright.
people.
I think either way, the best.
It also crashed the global economy.
So
If it's an
unironically,
economy based on slave labor, is it worth
yeah, it
saving?
ought to be crashed. I totally.
Yeah,
The fortune
it's
teller lady
worthwhile,
was
yeah.
not totally wrong.
yeah.
Fortune teller lady said that Norda was going to dismantle this society and everything it was built on, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
We
Let's
cut
fucking
the
go.
flaming blindfolds.
Let's go, gamers.
Yeah, for the record, the first half is true. Like, the villains, the air quotes villains in these things are usually right. They're only evil because they start blowing up orphanages for some reason.
So here's what Norda unironically thinks that we should do without any of the revolution starting just yet.
Yeah.
Like, Norda's priority is getting all the slaves off of the ship and letting them find their way into their safer, or to their previous lives to the extent that they can. Most of those lives don't happen in Willinquet. They happen in Ajabiata. Like, that's where he was taken from. That's where most of these people were taken from. So I think we go to Unmirage or Thorngrove with this thing. One of these close cities that we are, relatively welcome in. Probably Unmirage if we can make it that
Yeah.
far. So that we can, offload these slaves and find a way to get them all to their respective homes.
Can we somehow warn the people that we're going through that? Hey, it's us.
Can we get a message to Elise?
Yeah, like, hey, don't shoot. We're not here to take slaves.
I don't have sending.
Right?
Fuck, I don't know if we do.
I have sending. I
I
just don't have it prepared right
I
now.
have message.
Once we're within 300 feet, we can get to her.
Yeah.
Here's a question: How
As
long?
soon as they line up all their cannons on this crashing, burning ship, they hear the reassuring voice of Vasudeva himself saying, like, "Hey, it's me. I brought friends."
How
shoot.
about Moat? How fast does your mount fly?
It flies.
Oh, wait, can we backpedal a bit on that? I don't feel like we resolved the situation with Moat's mount.
We still
Yeah,
have a couple
yeah.
of things we're resolving.
Yeah, we still
how
got
fast
stuff.
is your mount fly? We'll start with that.
It is 120 around if it's dashing. 60 feet otherwise.
Okay. So
You
it's
could,
very fast. It could potentially just fly and deliver a message the old-fashioned.
yeah, you could potentially with you on it, mind you. Like,
Correct. It's gonna
Not
have
just
to be
you
me on it because, well, first of all, I'm gonna have to find it because I don't know where it's at.
So thankfully, give me a perception check from your mount. We'll see if it manages to fuck this up again.
your mount's gonna be
Oh
covered
boy,
in
what's its
ants.
perception?
It's so sugary.
It's being so slow. I don't think it has a bonus to this. I'm just gonna roll.
Sure.
What's it based? What's your mount based on?
It's a Paraton.
Oh, cool.
A Pteraton.
So for perception, Paratons have a +5.
They do, which bumps it to a
Oh.
10, which is plenty. Because as
It's
Vasu,
passive. It's 15.
as Vasu emerges, it does spot Vasu and is able to like run past through the fort that he just came out of, assuming that is the correct direction. And from there, it's
It also
finally
has
able,
advantage in those.
From there, it's finally able to follow your earlier instructions, and it is able to reunite with all of you. So your mount is now with you
Excellent.
inside of the Wandering Sun.
It's gonna have to take me with it because it very critically cannot speak. So I could send it ahead of us and just have it do some interpretive dance, but
Reach.
I also
I feel like
before we move on, this is incredibly silly, but I do have to make sure that it gets said because I'm a huge fucking nerd. It would be so much harder to launch this thing than to simply tow it or fly it over to Belmoral. The amount of energy that it would take to launch a city 450 miles is like putting a satellite in orbit. You would you would need crazy dynamics to make that happen.
It would destroy the land. Wasn't it?
Just like a catapult, though, right?
Sure.
Maybe
Anyway.
a trebuchet.
Anyway, carrying on. Oh, they begin to travel up to the northeast towards Anmarad.
We have 2 more questions.
Yes, 2 more questions. Hit me.
Stuff. Guys have 2 more questions. If there's anything else pertinent. If not, I'm just gonna ask some weird shit.
which head is this? This is Anton.
Oh, this is Anton. Yeah, if you have specific questions, anyone in the party really, 'cause we're all connected.
What are you thinking about?
If we don't have anything else worth asking, we could maybe ask about the Ryujin. He's still just kind of out there doing his own thing, and we don't really know what he's up to.
I'm for that. Sure. You ask about the Ryujin.
Ryujin, something.
You would learn that Anton has a tenuous friendship. Friendship is even too strong with the word. It's a, the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of situation with this cult of druids called the Blue Order, or the Blue Circle, who are very closely aligned with Ryujin. And the reason that they initially met is because they were destroying land that he was trying to get slaves from, and they basically killed a bunch of his merchandise. They have struck a deal so that Anton provides monetary help and travel assistance, particularly to the Blue Circle, to the Blue Order, so that they can go do all their dumb shit way off to the east instead of killing all the slaves that they want. And similarly, there's kind of a similar relationship between the Reiju and the Ryujin. They're both content to let each other be because they're not really big enemies as long as the Tarask and the Phoenix get, shafted by whatever the other is doing. You would be aware, or Anton would be aware, the Ryujin is, as far as you can tell, working and living with this cult of druids because they are strongly affiliated with it. They want to return the entire land to the ocean.
Okay.
And it likes that. It loves the idea of ruling a planet that is entirely underwater.
Gotcha. Team Aqua.
Yeah, Team Aqua, basically. I never played those games, but I feel like it's
I have
pretty
never
similar.
either.
Yeah.
Except Team Aqua say, we're gonna save the planet by doing it.
Yeah. And that's kind of their thought, too, is they believe that if they can force the world to adapt to living underwater, then maybe they won't have to deal with the existential threat of the outsiders, which they have been secretly maintaining knowledge of for quite some time.
I relay this message to everyone.
There would also be confirmation, I think, at this point, that I think you guys all suspected, but have now confirmed. Anton is aware of the outsiders, and it is presumable that some of these other people are in on the conspiracy with him.
It was Mac the whole time.
Mac probably doesn't understand the outsiders.
Mac all the way down.
So, one last question, if you have any.
There's things that I want to know, but I think most of them would be better served by looking at ledgers. I want to know where, what is the total number of slaves that are on this ship? Where did they come from? Where have they been distributed to in other places in the world? Where are the slaves that...
I could ask him where to find the information. that you need.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like there's probably better use of the questions because we could probably find that by just searching.
Yeah. So
What do we
aside from
need
that-
divination for?
it's true.
What does Anton have buried in his brain that we just got to know?
I'm sorry, we probably missed it. We asked him what his deal with Ozzy was, right?
We did. Yeah.
Ozzy gave him a bunch of power, and in exchange, he got his soul for a short time. A few years after his death, Ozzy gets his soul. We don't know what he gets, what he wants to do with it. Tight. Have we found any sort of link between NSS and the Order of Balance? I don't think we have. I have any reason to think
I don't
that Anton
think
would know
so.
anything about the Order of Balance.
Would you like to confirm?
Do we have like more uses of this? Is this like the last question we ever get to ask his brain?
The last one for until the next Speak with Dead, and I think it's 10 days.
Okay.
So I can ask him again in 10 days.
Not forever.
Yeah, not forever.
What Nordo probably wants to ask, even if Isaac think it's not necessarily practical, is like, and what he would say in character is like, I just want to know where all the slaves is and how we can set them free, how we can get everybody home.
And I guess I asked that because that sounds reasonable.
Yeah. It's a very kind of mundane answer. It's close to what you would expect. There are ledgers usually on each of the ships that detail where they have gone in their circuit, where they picked slaves up. There's exact numbers, like we got 12 on this raid, we got 110 on this raid, so on and so forth.
That saves us time.
Those are all collected in one of the warehouses, which is out on the lower deck. There is plenty of record keeping inside of those warehouses. You could almost certainly interrogate one of the warehouse workers to get some of that information. And from there, it's just a matter of figuring out who's who, where they came from, and getting them back there.
Yeah.
That's an extensive project. This is a years-long project, but it is one that you can absolutely begin to get underway.
Yeah. Next question I think I have. That's the last one, by the way. This is just a question for mechanics, I guess. How long do we have till we make landfall?
They're moving very fast, and like before, it is almost kind of alarming how fast this wandering sun moves, given how big it is. You imagine that you'll probably be Flick would be the one to estimate this with the sailing experience, or Moat, one of the two of them. Would probably estimate that you'll be in Unmirage by the end of the second day, like kind of afternoon of tomorrow.
Okay, we have a rest period.
Yeah, you'll get a night of rest.
Okay.
Now that we've already decided we're going to Unmirage, what would be the best city to go to if one were to want to hire a bunch of ships to take a bunch of people to various places in Ajabiata?
Seatoll or Deltana, either one of those would be good. Potentially Thorngrove, they have a lot of mercantile work there. The issue is that most of them are already moving goods, so it would be kind of like, I don't know, you'd have to convince them to do that instead of what they're already doing.
Yeah, but if one were hypothetically richer than God and just inherited all the money of the NSS.
Yeah, Thorngrove is going to have a lot of ships coming and going.
Hell yeah. We're just going to strip it down first.
Why don't we just land this thing in the middle between Unmirage and Thorngrove?
Yeah.
Or Thorngrove, I guess, is probably a better bet.
Yeah. The rest will give us time to at least get its riches out before we decide to throw it.
Yeah.
Not, well, metaphorically.
Physically throw it. Actually physically throw it.
Metaphorically throw it at Belvero.
Yeah. Because I think if we're looking for somewhere for all these slaves to be refugees for a while until we can get them home, then Unmirage is our best bet, because I trust Elise to take good care of them.
Yeah.
But if we're looking for a place to just as soon as we get there, hire a fleet of ships to take these people home, then I think Thorngrove is our better bet. And Norda's willing to throw down as much money as it takes to make that happen.
Yeah. Should be decent enough to do. Simple enough.
Cool.
Excellent.
So Thorngrove.
You guys begin to make your way over there. After another 40 minutes or so, Leah finishes attuning to the Storm Titan and is able to get it under control. She is able to quickly determine some of the cool capabilities that it has, like the ability to teleport around, very, very powerful kind of elemental cannons. It is an old kind of animation-based ship, which means it is powered entirely by just physical magic as opposed to summoning elementals. It means it can be crewed very lightly. as long as the captain is aboard. Although it cannot quite autopilot, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Is there like a card for this that describes it, or can you just tell me like how much teleporting can it do?
I don't have a card for it just yet. The teleporting is pretty limited, mostly because it drains mana from the user when it is activated, a pretty tremendous amount of it.
Gotcha.
With that said, the teleportation is not limited to... It is similar to a plane shift. This big ring on the back of the ship is part of what powers the teleportation, and you get the sense, and she would probably get the sense as she's identifying it and becoming attuned to it. This ship was not made on this plane. This is a ship that was made on the air elemental plane by Jenny and by people from the Jenny civilizations. And this ship can potentially plane shift using a considerable amount of mana as input.
That's really cool.
So I got my wires fucking crossed just now when you said made by Jenny. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Yep.
Campaign crossover.
Campaign crossover. What are you talking about? Her name is totally normal. I'll try to get a card up for it soon.
That's fine.
But yeah. At the very least, what she is able to do is pull it out of the Wandering Sun so that when you do eventually crash it, it's not going to be stuck inside there. And she begins to kind of sail alongside it.
So I'll go along with her as she gets on that and kind of sails it around, and I'll just be like, I can't speak for everybody else, but near as I'm concerned, this is yours now.
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I don't know if I want to fly this thing for the rest of my days or fly it into a mountain.
You can do both?
Well,
I suppose I could, couldn't I?
I had an idea for where maybe you could fly it if you're keen on the idea.
I'm all ears.
Anton made you do a lot of things that ain't who you are and take people from their homes. We've got a bunch of these people here, and we're going to get as many of them back as we can, and maybe you could be the one what takes them home. Puts them back where they belong.
She ponders it for a second, and then you can see that a bit of a weak smile crosses her face. And she kind of looks at it. It is a big ship. I bet I could move a lot of people with this.
When we get where we're going, I could hire some people to take a few more ships, follow you wherever you need to go, and then we'll get a message to everyone else, capital and everywhere else, that whatever slaves they got need to be returned, or else get all them home too. I don't know if I've kind of stopped believing that there's such a thing as the good person or a bad person. There's just good things that you do and bad things that you do. And maybe this could be a whole lot of good things you could do.
She nods, and she's like, I think I like that plan. I think I like that a lot. I'll hold off on running this thing into a mountain, at least until I've used it to ferry some people back to where they belong. When we land, though, I am gonna rip the name off the side. Gonna pick something new.
I'll help you with that. This is for you too. And he takes one of Anton's severed hand. I can't remember whether she's missing her right or left, whichever one matches the one that she's missing.
Because you took both.
He's gonna keep one of them, but whichever one is the opposite, he'll give to her.
Oh boy. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. She's okay, yeah. I'm trying to think there's so many different ways that yes. She will take it and she studies it for a second, and you can tell that she's deciding again whether to throw this thing overboard or light it on fire or wear it like a trophy. And eventually you can see that she kind of she gets an idea. And she throws her good arm around you and says, I think I know what to do with this. You gonna keep the other one?
I thought you would. Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will keep it.
Oh, good. Well,
And if you do want to just throw that thing in the sea or light it on fire, put it in the trash, I wouldn't blame you.
maybe a little bit, but the way I see it is I was relying on him to power my hand for a long time, but only because he took it. Maybe now that I've got his, I can make him return the favor one way or another. I'll have to talk to some of your magic friends, see what they can do for me, but...
I'm sure Little Dragon could help you out. He's built himself half a body, pretty much.
I think I see where she's going, and I can't do necromancy. Sorry. I do approve of this, though. So you do you.
We'll
If it's body horror you want,
What's the Orcish word for necromancy?
Unga Bunga Creeping Crawler.
Oh, I love it. I love the
Unga
idea of
Bunga
Anton's hands
cousin.
being like a
Familiar.
shoulder parrot, like.
Yeah. Unga Bunga thing.
Oh my god. Bunga Bunga Idle Hands, the movie.
Oh man. Okay, yeah, I like this idea so much more.
Is that not what you were going for? Okay.
I had a few thoughts,
Nice.
but I love the idea, and Leo will be like, that actually, maybe we can find somebody that can like turn it into like a little, like parrot or monkey or whatever, and I can just order it around and yell at it and be mean to it all the time.
Oh, is that what you want? Abuse a parrot.
Is it
Abuse
now,
the hands.
This is dipping into the magical philosophy, and I don't know nothing about this. Would it be? Would that be a bad thing if I like? Is his hand still him if we reanimate it, or would I just be abusing like an innocent undead zombie for no reason?
Well, his soul is gone somewhere else. His hand may have some memories of his, but only the memories his hand would do, which I would not delve into. Which was his
Yeah, you don't know what you don't want to know where that hand's been.
But what I can do is rearrange its bones into a skeletal parakeet, then it's not a real thing, and then we animate it. Then it's definitely him, and it's not thinking, it's just him. We're not abusing any magical force.
I was gonna say, if I'm keeping this thing around, I want to like use it, right? Like I want to repay him. I want to turn him into a slave for me somehow.
Yeah. Definitely. A part of him will be your slave.
All right.
Or at least your indentured servant. Or a pet, whichever.
No, we don't have to sugarcoat it. Excellent. I think the only point of order that still remains as you guys are traveling over to set this thing down is...
Yeah, I want to, identify some items now that we have time.
Yeah, we can get all the identification done. Let me see. What has not yet been identified?
The sword, the Rumi, which I think we're just letting what's-his-name keep because it's too big for everyone else.
Yeah.
I want to identify it anyway, because I'm excited. Oh, it's fucking... Okay.
Just +2. That's it.
Just a +2. It's neat. We can get Vasu one his size.
Get one just your size, Vasu. I think we should let Arumi keep his. Bread the Breaker. What the fuck is his name? His name's not Arumi.
Third Shackle? Locus
Oh, the third Shackle.
Yeah, I guess he deserves it.
Did we get this yet?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what Vasu got.
Okay, it was on Anton. Oh, cool!
I suppose I should probably hold on to this.
That seems wise. You would also notice when you identify this, you can attune to both of the shackles as if they were the same thing.
Hey, it's a set.
Ooh.
Vasu, would you like a scimitar? Or who would actually want the scimitar?
Jesus, +3?
Yeah, it's a +3 and 2d6 additional lightning damage.
God almighty, that's good. Is a
There's
scimitar a monk weapon?
It can be, because he's got the thingy. Oh wait, no, is he proficient in it? You have to be proficient in it.
Anything's a monk weapon if you just make it your monk weapon. Thanks, Tasha's.
Tasha still requires
It just can't be heavy or special. Oh, I'm proficient because I'm a barbarian.
Yeah, you're proficient because you're Baron. I don't know if Vasu is as a warlock monk.
Because I don't really want to switch my weapon anyway on account of I love my axe.
Oh, it's got fucking leaping light. Sorry, my mouth is full of Danish. It's got leaping lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like a stacking leaping lightning effect.
I'm
It's
so
pretty
hard.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty insanely good.
Yeah. Do you want it? Who wants it, actually?
Yeah, I want it. This is mine. I'm claiming it.
Wow. Do you want it, Mo? You're actually proficient.
No.
in it.
No.
Are monks even proficient?
I
in
say, Vasu, you
scimitar?
might actually not be able to use it as the
If
problem.
I
If
can't-
Vasu can use it, he can totally have it.
Like with all the new rules, like a monk has got to be able to be proficient in a fucking scimitar, right?
I
That's
think
not
you'd
a
have
very.
to,
Let me check
I
for
think you'd have
you.
to take like a
Check
feat about it. I'm looking at it right now.
That's not a super specific sort of
I
weapon.
say, by default, you only get simple weapons and short swords. This is a melee, or as a
Marshall.
fucking martial weapon. You wouldn't get it from your
That's
warlock levels.
Dumb.
And for something to be,
I know it's dumb. I don't get why that you have to be proficient with it.
you say you have to be
It's just a
proficient with
curved sword. Why is it so hard to use?
I know Faircrease had that problem for a very long time. You have to understand. Why can't I use scimitars?
This-
What's wrong?
This blade is 1.5 feet shorter than the spear that I normally use. It gets curved. By God, how
Yeah.
do I use it?
It's especially dumb because you can use short swords.
For stabbing.
dumb.
Is it so difficult to slash? Is that
I feel required to interject. Yes, it is much harder to use a scimitar than a regular short sword.
okay? Is it though?
Prove it.
Fight
Could
me
you prove it?
IRL.
Find me, Ariel.
Could you actually prove it?
Yeah,
Sorry, Vasu,
you
I guess
and
you
me,
can't
one-
use your cool weapon.
You
I
and
guess you
me,
could take the stones out of
1v1.
it
You
and just
have a
put 'em in a
short
short
sword.
sword.
I have a scimitar. Let's see who wins.
Alternately, we could maybe transfer this thing's.
I was gonna say, just take
Stones.
the stones out and put them in a short sword.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
accurate.
literally, like,
Granted, I don't know
wonder-
what the stones are if it would take some insane roll or something, but
yeah,
Probably,
I don't
but
know
you
what
have-
stone.
An insane artificer.
You have two insane
Two
artificers.
insane artificers.
One literally insane. One
but-
manic.
oh yeah, I remember the shackles. They can turn us into fiery forms or now windy forms.
Oh my god.
Is what we used to
Yeah.
go to the like fire plane without getting burnt alive.
The windy form, will that allow us to enter the vault?
I believe
That's what he
so.
does. Yeah, cool.
Let me double check.
Okay. I already have a method to get in and be unmolested.
Yes. I don't know. I must have forgotten to put it in there, but yes, in the paragraph about taking on a semi-corporeal form, that does include the ability to squeeze through passages.
Yeah. And the golems there will have true sight or blind sight. I feel like it's
You imagine... Oh my god, give me an Arcana check. Hard to say.
fucking imagine it's. Oh, who's that? Who came in and left? Hello.
It's Vasu.
Hi.
Click. It's free.
Nicarino, 21.
21... You're not
Natural.
entirely sure. You know it's going to be better than normal sight, but it could be either blind or true. You would suspect, like, things that are set
Probably
up
blind.
to, like, guard an area probably have good seeing capabilities.
Yeah.
Two creatures that are responsible for guarding all of his personal wealth. There is another point of order. What do you do with the people on the Wandering Sun? Specifically, you've already kind of explained your plan for the slaves. What are you doing with everyone else?
Yeah.
Public execution.
But literally, maybe. Boy. Nordo's not the right person to answer this question. If someone asks Nordo, he says, like,
Kill them all.
go through them one by one, and if they have a slave, kill them.
Nomad's suggestion is see if you can rehabilitate them so they can, pay for their crimes rather than just lose the lives. If I did it for Kuotoa, I have to do it for like every other race.
Well, we all remember what I wanted to do to the Kuatoa, so maybe I'm not the right one to answer this question.
I know. I just have to be consistent with my mercy. Like, it depends on how bad they are, I guess, Because, like, everyone here has done something terrible, and we're trying to do better about it. Maybe these people are capable of doing good. Maybe they're not. I can only see a few seconds in the future with my highest level sea feature spell.
I think this question kind of gets into the other question of when this is all said and done, I would like the message from what's happened here to be that everywhere in Will and Quet and everywhere else that slaves need to be freed and sent back to their homes.
And that there are repercussions for doing this.
So if we're making that happen, then we've kind of fixed the problem at the rotten heart of this thing, and all these people are just people what was taken advantage. I still think every one of them deserves what's coming to them for taking advantage, but
how about a compromise? The Kuatoa were decimated. We decimate this one as well. Leave 10%.
I think that kind of corrupts the message from slaves should go free to let your slaves go or they're going to kill you.
It's true. Perhaps we can let them survive and spread the word. This is not a viable business. This is a bad idea. It's also morally reprehensible. It makes people do this.
the trouble is I don't trust these people to spread that word if that's word we get them. I think the word they're going to spread is a bunch of crazy fucks came and blew up the Wandering Sun. We need to get back at them or whatever. But I guess they don't really have a good way of getting back. What sort of people are? I guess I can see them. What sort of people are these? Do any of them appear to be like, I don't know, battle-hardened survivors, or is it all like prissy ass business owners?
It's a mix. There are definitely people here that were responsible for physical labor, for breaking. Some of them for battle. There are guards. You would probably guess that less than 5% of them are hardened fighters or combatants of any sort. Another 15% are extreme high up management, extremely culpable, knew exactly what they were doing, and were doing it because the money was good and they were okay with being bad for money. There's probably something in the ballpark of 30 or 40% that are just kind of like, I don't want to say along for the ride, but like this was just their job.
That dude's a janitor.
Not even like janitor, like the slaves were doing the janitor work, but people who made their way up
clerks and paperwork keepers.
Exactly, and like they're culpable, but they are plenty content to be like, yeah, dude, I'll just change my line of work. Don't kill me.
Bureaucrats.
Yeah, it's bureaucrats, and then everybody else is slave labor.
To the extent that it's, Minorda doesn't say this in these words.
Yeah.
But to the extent that it's possible to find those 5% who are deliberately engaging in the using of slaves for their own profit, I'd like to cut all those people's heads off. But the other 75% or whatever.
This is better than decimation. Much better. That's much better than decimation. I'm so happy.
The goal of this, in my mind, was to cut off the head of the snake. But it kind of seems as though there's more than one snake here. So, I don't know how many heads we got to cut off to get the rest of the snake's body to get the message. But I think I guess we could make this work for us. If these people are going to be looking for a new line of work, we round them all up, get all their names, and let them know that we can find them if we need to, which is probably true. And then we tell them to get them a ship or whatever, get them back to Willingquit, tell them to round up every person that's a slave and bring them back here to us. And if they got a problem with that, we'll come sort that problem out if they don't comply.
Easily done. We can find their paperwork.
If they done spent the last however many years making people do slave work for them, I got no problem making them go clean up the mess they made before they can go on with their lives. These people want to start new lives, that's fine, but not before they pick up the mess they made. Not before they get all these people home whose lives they ruined.
Another suggestion for democracy. Would you like to ask the slaves what they want to do with the people who captured them?
I can tell you what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta understand.
I know.
When this all started, not even when this started, let's just use the Kuatoa for an example. I was taken from my home when I was a little kid by these slavers, and I knew nothing was going to be right in the world until I killed the one that did it. And when we was in Seattle, there was a little kid that had been taken by the Kuatoa away from his family, away from his home. So I knew that all of them needed to die too. You ask these people what they want to do to the people that took them from their homes and killed their families and took everything they got, and now they ain't even got a home to go back to in most cases. You're only going to get one answer. And maybe I've seen enough of the world now and enough bullshit to know that things are more complicated than that, or maybe they ain't even more complicated than that now, I just think they are. But if these people came from any sort of life like what I came from, they had a nice, simple life in a quiet place with their families. They got ripped away from them from these people.
And the sentiment is definitely kind of mirrored. There are occasional exceptions where someone would be like, "Oh, this particular person was nice to me," and I can tell that they were, maybe being coerced a little bit. But by and large, those are exceptions. They are extremely rare. These people would love to see everything burn.
Yeah. Nomad pulls out the pie chart and it's like, wow, when it's left to them, a higher percentage would rather they died.
That's not a bad point, though. We don't know all these people. How many people are there on the Wandering Sun total, besides the slaves?
Oh boy, I gave a number at one point, and Ace is going to yell at me if I get it wrong.
An approximation is fine.
Yeah, it's going to be in the high 5s to low 6 digits, somewhere between 5 and 10,000.
Jesus.
I thought there were millions. That's not so bad.
No.
Well, I was just going to say that we're never going to be able to talk to 10,000 people and figure out which ones are good and which ones are just playing along, not without spending years on it. But these slaves would have spent years of their lives here. They could probably point out the worst ones in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, any sort of process to sort all of these people into salvageable or too evil to be redeemable is going to be an extended process, but it's certainly one that you can get started on. And using the slaves as a jury is not a terrible idea for the ones that are interested in doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're doing this for the justice of the people, and I know that's icky, perhaps, because some of them just want blood. But if someone says, "Please save that one," I think no one else can touch that one, right? It's that one shouldn't be killed because someone said save them. If a slave could say, "Don't kill this person," they must be a good person.
Even then. No, what I mean is almost on the other side. If just a year ago you would have asked these slaves whether or not they should kill Leah or not, they would have said kill her.
They would.
Several people, if they could overhear this conversation, nodded that.
So I don't know.
Overruled. No, never mind. Overruled.
So I don't know. It's just fucking complicated.
It's true.
You know what? I think think we should round up
The higher up.
the heads of the snakes, every leader of every company, what was on the Wandering Sun. That should be easy. We know how many companies are here.
Yeah.
And get them in a room. And
Get them in a room. leave you in the room with them.
And I'm not quite sure what's going to happen in that room yet, but everyone what's not in that room, slave and otherwise alike, we just tell them this shit ain't happening anymore. We're going to end slavery. And you can help or leave or fuck off, whatever you want to do. It's your own fucking life. And who knows, maybe some will help and maybe someone will die trying to walk across the desert in Unmirage, and that's their own fucking business, but it's not possible for us to suss out which people amongst these 10,000 are good people that have just done bad. I've done terrible things. Leah's done terrible things. Every person here has done terrible things. I ain't saying we're all as bad as Anton or nothing, but
some of you are willing
maybe
to switch to doing good things, and that's what's important.
I'm sure there's going to be some people that we let go and they go right on back to trying to find the next way to fuck over little people to make money. But maybe some of them will find a new way, and the ones that don't will find them and kill them later. And I suspect most of the ones that would be will still be in that room, so we could still figure out what happens in that room first.
Nomad nods. Right, so I guess gathering the people up will be the first order.
So I guess start by like finding ledgers that show like what every company on the Wandering Sun that is based in slave labor and who is in charge of that company.
Perfect. You guys have basically an entire evening and most of the next morning of travel to start working through this. Vasu has been able to basically organize this army of wind elemental myrmidons, and then also you guys just have your own forces and all of the slaves that you just liberated to kind of facilitate this.
Yeah. Oh, one of the things that were being identified, the giant pink crystal.
Oh, the one at the center of the Wandering Sun?
Yeah, I want to know what that does.
Yeah. It is essentially a massive version of the elemental control engines that you would see in any other airship. It is intended to function as an AoE. It pulses every hour. It has an incredibly difficult DC. I believe the DC was 30. I need to double check that. But yeah, it is an AoE pulse. It filters specifically for wind elementals. Elementals in general. 1 second.
Okay.
Being stupid.
Swallowing something.
This cat, I swear to God. Anyway. But yeah, it is only mobile thanks to the Benosium filigree that it has been kind of set in place with. That technology is extremely advanced. You get the sense that it's probably old society technology. It is intentionally kind of encrypted to hell and back. You imagine that was probably so that Ozymandias could reinforce that they needed him to operate it, that they couldn't just do it with their own mages and wizards. So there's been some like intentional obfuscation added to it. But yeah, it's still functional. You have to kind of reconnect the bits that Moat's disconnected. But in theory, if you ever need a very difficult, large, mobile AoE domination engine for elementals, then you got it. The big deal is...
I was wondering if we could repurpose it instead.
Possibly, yeah. It does draw a tremendous amount of power. And repurposing, like, finding other ways to use it, definitely possible. Altering the way that it works might be difficult because of the amount of obfuscation that has been added to it.
What's obfuscation? Things that hide it?
Yeah, it's intentionally scrambling something to make it harder to work with. You get the sense that Ozymandias and his Magitech dude, or whoever else was involved, have intentionally scrambled a lot of things for the sole purpose of making it hard to work with, so that they had to keep relying on Ozymandias to operate it.
So, like changing the creature type on it would be really hard.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult to change anything about the way that it works, but...
Oh no, like, if I want to use it as a power source.
It is a power drawing device. It doesn't generate power, it uses power.
What do you mean, power drawing?
It needs to draw a bunch of... Okay, hang on, Bill.
The window is right there, Bill. Jump out.
I don't get it. He thinks, like, he's doing the thing slowly, which means he knows he's not supposed to do it, but if he just does it slow enough, he'll get away with it. But no, it draws a lot of power from...
Where's it getting?
Mostly from fixtures within the tower itself. So you know there was the fort, and then there's the tower, and then there's crystal. Within that tower is basically an array of still stones that are kind of encased in Benoisium, just like before. Most of which are pink. In fact, almost all of which I think are pink. And they kind of act as the power source for everything throughout the Wandering Sun, including that big tower.
So, the question is, would it be possible to repurpose this and reroute all the powers into making this keep the thing aloft? Not exactly propel it, just keep it aloft and possibly towed.
Possibly. Give me... first of all, it's going to take a lot of time to study.
Yeah.
But if you want to spend your first night studying it and just get a very rough idea, go and give me Arcana or Tinker's Tools.
Sure. Can Ace help?
Sure.
Gonna make you a better fucking... Oh my god, these rolls. 21.
Maybe, but there's like so many issues. It would be very difficult and very time. So the biggest problems that present themselves are, first of all, you would need either white or gray, depending on the mode of animation that you wanted to use. Again, you've studied airships, so you understand your options. It's either enslave an elemental, animate things, or reverse gravity. And of those three options, pink is for enslavement, gray is for animation, Y is for the reversal of gravity, or just providing buoyancy. And you would have to replace all of these pink stones with appropriate colored stones.
Yeah, pink is mind, right?
Pink is mine, yep. Or
Like-
also
like
just
Kinesis.
generic. Also just magic. Pink is kind of just the generic
Yeah.
magic color too. So that leads to two more big old stepping stones, two big problems. You need to find giant, powerful white stones of this size, which is going to be incredibly hard. Like this crystal that you're seeing is amazingly rare. This is as if one of the crystals holding up Vasu's homelands was as dense as a workable 1C still stone.
Right.
But
Instead,
the
I
size
want to
of
hook
Vasu.
myself up to it and draw mana from it. Like a
You'll die.
battery.
You will die in a matter of nanoseconds.
Immediately.
Yeah, you'll just immediately die.
But I have these two rings that transfer mana safely.
Yep.
I've used them.
They will
And I've used them before.
They will draw all of the mana from your body in the blink of an eye. They will immediately deplete your mana. And then if you continue...
Oh, it doesn't give mana.
Are you wanting to charge your own mana or use your...
Yes! Draw from it does not mean give it.
Okay, I need to be careful here because I need to determine whether or not you can use...
I want a fucking battery that gives me
Right.
infinite spell spec.
Right. Okay, here, we're going to pull the curtain back here. I haven't figured out a lore reason yet. There is some lore reason why you cannot just use still stones as mana potions.
You can just say Diema said no. It's fine.
No, there's probably, like I mentioned, there probably is some sort of terrible side effect. But for one reason or another, people have tried to draw mana from Stillstone. Well, actually, no, this is already... You know, maybe I should just let you try this out.
when normal wizards and sorcerers concentrate their mana, it flows clockwise.
Hey, give me...
and still stones focus their mana
Hey,
counterclockwise.
Give me an Arcana check.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Flip. Yeah, go
ahead.
for it.
Didn't we literally fight a dragon that tried to do that?
There we go.
That's why
you
it's
got it.
chunk full of the mana stones coming out of it.
Perfect.
Oh, that's
Excellent.
because they
Yeah.
put mana stones in it. 36.
Trying to draw the power from it. So if you tried to do that, that's what
I don't
would
want
happen.
it embedded in me. I know it has terrible effects, but I want to safely siphon it.
I don't know if that was embedded as much as it was grown. I don't know if you have too much excess mana, maybe weird shit happens.
Flick is on the right track, and I will say that because he has jogged that, it will kind of throw advantage on your roll. Yes, you would be aware that, first of all, experiments in siphoning the energy from Stillstone into a body as a personal mana battery is typically extremely frowned upon because it's extremely dangerous. The reason it's extremely dangerous is because it results usually in rapid magical necrosis, which leaves you debilitated. Based on the things that you've seen over the course of your adventure, it kind of seems like soul damage, actually. It seems to result in the permanent loss of function that cannot be explained by normal medicine and cannot be healed by normal or magical medicine. It is permanent, irreversible damage, which ends up looking a lot like stillborn features, like you've seen in the dragons that Ozymandias has used, and like Gale has seen in the experiments that were done to him, and have prevented him from having his wings regrown or healed.
There it is.
So you're saying the result isn't because they regenerated him so many times that he can't regenerate anymore. It's a function of the Stillstones.
It's a little bit of both, yeah. Part of the reason that he has been dealt this permanent, irreversible damage is because in the process of trying to graft him with Stillstones, the idea was that he would draw mana directly from them into his body, and enough of those experiments went wrong that he presumably has suffered some of these side effects.
Yeah, I don't want to graft myself to it, though. I want to put mana from there into a container, and from that container draw that mana safely. Because I'm not an idiot.
Would be aware that to form a close enough connection to draw mana from a Stillstone into your own body, there has to be contact, and that contact rapidly becomes violent.
Like touching a Stillstone? Yeah. I want to put it like on a generator that safely makes it.
Okay, you could begin researching that sort of thing. It would be an extensive project. You're basically trying to do exactly what Azadirth was trying to do with Gale.
Yeah, but humanely, because I'm not an idiot again. Fucking Azadirth. Fucking idiot.
Sure. This is a long-term project that you could begin working on if you wanted.
Sure. What's the goal for it? What's a number I need to reach?
It's not going to be something that I can slap a number on easily. It's going to be sort of like a long-term story sort of thing.
Sure.
It's a post-campaign thing.
I'll add that to my godhood level then. Fine. I'll just be god before it happens. It's fine.
Perfect. Good luck. I do like this for Lurgan. I'm not trying to dissuade you. I'm just letting you know that this is not something that you're going to be able to do in like 4 nights of work and 4 good Tinkerstools rolls. It is basically
like 5.
It's basically exactly what Ozymandias or Azadirth is trying to do, and
but without live bait.
Right,
so harder,
which is going to make it even harder.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's easier to work with machines because they're more reliable than organic tissue. But you know, that's just me.
Gale would know, and I feel like it would be reasonable for him to know. Azadirth is not stupid. He's very smart. He's magical.
Oh, he's incredibly stupid. He worked with Anton, who wished, by the way, for something I already wished for, instead of wishing for us all to just be teleported away like an idiot.
What I'm getting at is that working with live people instead of machines is a shortcut. It is the easiest way to do what he wants, and it is still taking him years to do it.
Yeah, he wants it to gain immortality. I just want mana. I just want mana to replenish my spells. I bet he wants to be immortal.
That's a reasonable guess. Although you think he's kind of already attained that.
Yeah.
Ozymandias, anyway.
And he's trapped in the fucking Shadow Realm for it.
Whoops. Alright. You guys begin to kind of sort people out with the help of all of the Wind Myrmidons and the slaves that you freed. And you guys do get a short rest. As the first night passes, you guys are kind of flying over the mountain range to the northwest of Thorngrove.
Sweet Jesus.
And then shortly after you wake up on the next day, on the afternoon of Friday, November 8th, as the sun is setting, you see the white walls of Unmirage. I think the plan was to send Mode ahead to kind of warn them. So that he didn't just show up with the Wandering Sun out of nowhere.
Yeah, are the air elementals gonna leave us?
They certainly seem like they want to be free, yes.
Gotcha. So they're not gonna be with us for this
one. It's unclear what exactly they'll do, but, they don't seem interested in sitting around on the Wandering Sun. Moat, you're able to fly over and give Elise a bit of a heads up. They prepare the guard to kind of take people in, and also to make sure that they have the guard available if anybody tries to flee or revolt all of a sudden. Thankfully, by the time that you guys get there, thanks to Vasu's corralling and intimidation, everybody sort of seems to understand the situation here. They realize that they are at your mercy. It is an exhausting evening. It goes late into the night. As you evacuate people from the Wandering Sun, you begin to sweep buildings. There's all sorts of weird shit that you find in the Wandering Sun as you're evacuating. Tons of slave labor, as you would expect. What might not be expected is a lot of the slave labor is not just people from the material plane. There is a huge faction of people that have been abducted from the Feywilds and been put to work. Most of them in the kind of food industry. A lot of them, as soon as they're free, are content to just like say, okay, is everybody ready? Let's teleport back. Like they seem to have the ability to get themselves back to the Feywilds, but they was suppressed somehow while they were there. They just want to get the fuck out of there.
Because I imagine that Nordo is 100% on board with this, but I am enforcing through armed means, if necessary, that all of the slave labor evacuates first.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And that everybody that can't, and that everybody who isn't, is like still standing in line. Like they got a queue. This is like standing in line at the fucking airport.
God.
And they've all got to do it. And they're all delayed as much as we possibly can.
What a nightmare.
I know that this is going to take a long time, but to the extent that it's possible to do it over the course of the traveling time that it took us to get here, Nordo's priorities, like priority one is like literally physically free slaves if they're like wearing a collar or in a cage, get them out of it and explain the situation to them.
Yep.
And then second priority is like we said, round up the leaders of all these companies and figure out from them where all of their money is and go get it.
Yep, absolutely.
As part of an insult to injury sort of thing, if we're like identifying and rounding up all of these like heads of the businesses that were thriving on slave labor, I want to get them and possibly like handcuff them or maybe even put them in stocks and just like put them right up along all of the different lines for the slave labor that are leaving first.
Uh-huh.
And maybe put out like a few buckets of tomatoes too. Like, I know this isn't my campaign to inspire a social revolution but I support it 100%.
This definitely.
So whatever Nordo wants, I'm abusing my elemental avatar powers to do.
This definitely has the vibe of like a Roman triumph, where it's just as much a victory parade as it is like a humiliation fetish parade.
Achilles dragging the king's body, Hector's body.
300%.
And it is bizarre because although it is long and tedious and exhausting work, not only long into this first night, but even as you guys start to take shifts to sleep, this is going to continue for days. It's going to be a process to fully evacuate, to sweep all these buildings for survivors and slaves that are trapped. But it is work that you begin to get underway. And with the help of all of the people in Unmirage, Elise is able to organize her forces to join. Her guards are very willing to help out. They have no need for personal wealth. You guys have already freed their town and brought wealth to their town. You're able to oversee all of this. You're able to get the slaves out first, and then after plenty of humiliation and delay, all of the slave owners, all of the people that worked here, you kind of begin your process of identifying who's really in charge and who's just a lackey. Let me get an investigation check from. Yeah, basically, kind of. It's a little more fast forwarded than that, but let me get investigation. And Ace will help on this because this is up his alley.
Yes, it's right up his alley, yeah.
Yeah, to figure out who's, like, culpable here. In fact, I assume that this is probably...
Actually, roll Ace with advantage +6.
Yeah, this feels
more like, Ace than anybody else.
This feels like the most 100%. Ace thing for him
This is the Ace's thing to do.
This is not my thing.
Literally Inquisitor shit.
I'm just the muscle that enforces the revolution.
Can I be the good cop to Ace's bad cop, and I like use persuasion, but investigation persuasion?
I like it, sure. At the very least, it'll help him out.
Okay, so I'll just temporarily. Just this, I think.
So his minimum is 24 + 6. That's a 30.
Excellent. Flick and Ace doing some good cop, bad cop. Kind of simultaneously doing paper records and also like interrogations and inquiries with the slaves, like who was nice to you, who was mean to you, who was in charge. Getting these first-hand accounts for who they feel should be held responsible. No process is perfect, but you guys have made it very clear that you would rather err on the side of accidentally letting a bad guy go than accidentally convicting a good guy. So you err on the side of caution. And eventually are able to round up a group of about 36 people who are just unchallengeably culpable for all of this stuff. There are others that kind of slip through the crack and others that are a little wishy-washy, but these are the ones who, even in defeat, are not really repentant. They're the ones that are calling you terrorists. They're the ones that believe that, you guys are clearly the bad guys, that you will pay for your sins, that you are, ruining society. They believe that everything that they've done here is justified, and in their minds, the fact that a bunch of slaves revolted and were violent is only reinforcing the things that they already believed. They believe that they will be heroes, or seen as heroes back in Willingquet, and you are able to kind of corral them and do with them whatever you decide to do, which we'll get to in just a second. But we'll do
unappetizing.
I have another ego-stroking one-liner to deliver.
Sure, hit me.
Are the rest of the accused and slightly more innocent here?
Yeah.
I'm mostly just
until this process is done.
Okay, like I'm looking at the definitely guilty, and then I'm looking at everybody else, and I'm being shit. I forgot the line. I had planned.
Oh no!
It'll come
God
back to you.
damn it.
It'll come back to you.
We'll come back when you've
hang on.
You just think on it.
You can do it. You can do it.
Not the quip.
Something about the winds of justice, and how they can change. I don't know.
Something.
You'll never break the wind. I don't know.
Ignore me.
Winds of Change by St. Lucia is a great song that everybody should listen to. There are a couple of things that need to be addressed. Beyond just getting the people out, figuring out who's freed, who's not freed, and who's in the middle. The first one is a tremendous, extraordinary collection of wealth. Let me get from the first 5 of you a D100.
Oh.
Slightly better. Slightly better.
Oh, there we go.
Really close, actually, to the good number. Ooh, 76 is good, too.
I think we need one more. Or no, that's 6.
That's
Isn't it?
5. I think
Yeah, it's 5.
we only need 5, right? Or was it 6?
I think
Say
it's
5.
5, yep.
Yeah, 5. Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
there's 5.
Excellent.
76, the highest we got.
Most of them were over 50, though.
Yeah, I was the only one under.
Okay, excellent. A tangential but important question is, you amassed a tremendous quantity of wealth from all of these other establishments, all of these warehouses and bases of operation. It's very clear to you that a bunch of money has recently disappeared because it was used in a big, ritual sacrifice to obtain this drop of God's blood. With that said, though, there's...
Oh, so that got done.
It did get done. You're able to deduce during this investigation that happened. That has already happened.
Okay.
With that said, there is still a fuckload of money here, and I'll get you an exact number later, but I'm gonna draw it out because edging is fun. Before that, though, what do you do with the safe, the vault?
Yeah, we gotta go in
You know
there.
that there is a ton of wealth in there, and you also know that there's another band in there, presumably.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we gotta-
the plan was to use Alter Self, because that changes physically
Okay.
what I am. And the only thing that would boil that really is True Sight. So a good test, I think, is teleport in there, open from inside, and have someone do the outside. Use Alter Self. And potentially step close enough to see if they attack or not.
Okay, excellent.
I do cast Sanctuary on myself.
Perfect. That is a good call.
I imagine it's been a few days after we get the others, and then we leave this for last.
Yeah, presumably.
How many days would you say it's been?
You guys, we'll say you guys get one more short rest in before you attempt to tackle the vault. So
Sure.
it's been 2 total since the fight, which means you're trying to do this on Saturday. It looks like you guys did already solve the sliding bit of it, which means that the door does open. And with Alter Self, you do find that these 2 massive shapes rise from the vault. And let me check the stat block and see what they've got.
I'm just gonna like approach, not super close inside, just checking to see if they become aggressive.
You find that they seem to believe you're Anton, and they allow you to do whatever you would like.
Excellent.
You can begin just literally shoveling money out like Scrooge McDuck. Presumably one of the first things you do
and drain it all in.
Okay, excellent. Demiplane and drain, and then dump it elsewhere if you feel like later. Presumably you grab those bands pretty early on.
Yeah, I get the bands first, I guess, so it doesn't get yacked into the demiplane, because that'll be opened on Sunday.
Excellent. Vassar, you find that you are able to, if you want to, attune to this one as part of the set as well. You can attune to all 3 of these bands as if they were a single item.
So cool.
Oh shit!
And so let me get 2 more D100.
Oh, Jesus, wait. Multiply by 10.
What's Vasa's
Oh my
weight?
god, you're just immune to non-magical damage.
Hot. Oh, Vasu 84. 39.
300.
Ignore 42. That isn't mine. That's for the my mana.
Oh, okay, thank God.
Oh.
Nice.
There's still 3 more. There's still 1 more rather.
We need 1 more?
Yeah,
we
42 was.
Oh, okay.
No, 42 was
84.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, 2 more. Gotcha.
All these shackles are part of one attunement set?
Yes,
Yeah.
in theory, if you attune to any of these shackles, you can attune to the other ones for free, is what it boils down
That's
to.
hot.
You still have room for 1 more.
Yeah, I gotta see how many the shackles we acquire.
We should have 3. I think we've got Earth, Fire, and Wind. We just need Water. And then you'll be Captain Planet. Yeah, we got Fire. That was your first one you got.
Let me just see how much.
Because we had to use it when we went into the Plane of Chaos or whatever.
Can you guys hear my cat?
Yo.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear your cat better than you.
Hi, Raz. Yeah,
I
you're
don't know what
just.
he's doing. He's somewhere. He's howling very loudly.
Are you on your phone?
No, I'm on my computer headset, but I don't know where he is.
Oh, it's because you sound. Is it
So
lifted?
you sound distant.
Is your mic lifted up?
I had it kind of tilted
Oh.
away.
There we
Better
go.
now.
Hi.
Much better.
Yeah, he's loud. And I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Mana subtracted. Down to 28.
Excellent. The Royal Guard of Anmirage under Elise's care begins to set up shelters for all of the slaves that have just been taken in. I say shelters. What I mean is 2/3 of the city is now unoccupied, and there are free houses for everyone.
Perfect.
Yay!
A lot of people are interested in.
Did he
going
want to
back-
move here?
A lot of people want to go to their homelands. A lot of
Okay.
them are under the impression that they have no home to go back to. You would know that some of them are probably right. Some people are willing to at least take a home here for the time being. And Elise
Yeah,
is
say
obviously
before-
happy to do that.
Yeah, well, I'll once we get to this point when we're rounding everybody up, or deboarding everyone to be refugees for a little while, I will sort of explain everyone the plan anyway is we're gonna try to get everybody back to their homes as soon as we can round up the manpower to make it happen. In the interim, they're free to do whatever they want. If they want to stay here, they can. If they want to try to just fuck off and make it on their own, they can. Whatever they want to do, but we'll try to get them home as soon as we can.
Right.
Yeah. In the off chance that there are some that don't feel comfortable just hanging around here, I'll tell them to head up to Eisenhower. It's a real free place with a lot of elemental energy. It's definitely not crashing to the ground. It can use all the help from elementals it could get.
Excellent.
You know.
A lot of them are definitely interested in that. You do find, especially the ones that are not accustomed to, the desert, are not super thrilled about the idea of living in a desert city. But this is going to be a long and ongoing process of getting people where they want to go. But thankfully, you have the resources to begin doing that. Elise is happy to oversee this project, and she has the people and the manpower to get started on it with all of you guys. But yeah,
Sorry.
And I don't know like what the specific astronomical number of money that we rounded up was, but the other thing that in order to make sure happens before we like send these people off to start their lives on Mirage is like evenly splits up the vast majority of that money between those people who are the ones who created that wealth.
excellent.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
also like Leah, who knows a lot about, fleet logistics, I assume. I will like ask her to like come up with a figure. How much gold do you need to arrange a fleet of ships to take these people to their homes? And you get that number figured out too, so she can have that stipend.
On the topic of specific numbers, it takes literally most of a day and a half to even get a rough estimate of how much wealth that you've pulled off of this thing. However, the number does come to roughly, give or take a few hundred gold, 407,000 gold. It is up to you guys to figure out what you want to do with that. That is a tremendous amount of wealth. That is roughly the real world equivalent of like $32 million.
Excellent.
That's my Twitter.
You guys can you guys can begin deciding what you would like to do and how you would like to split that. And I will get you kind of an estimate for like the shipping logistics that Leah would begin to do.
Did you say $32 million?
Something in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is definitely not enough to buy Twitter. But,
Yeah.
No, you need $42 billion to buy Twitter.
Question about
With a B.
Right.
Nomad, what's up?
So the vault. After draining the whatever magic items and gold into the demi-plane, I assume the golems are still there. And they're
this is
also made of gold.
This is actually a very good point. The golems.
I was
are
wondering
the
if I could
horde.
deactivate. Yeah, can I deactivate the stones and just have them go in? Like, can I order them to go into the demi plane and then I deactivate the stones?
Almost certainly, and in fact, that is basically what you're going to have to do if you want to get most of this horde out anyway. I guess just to kind of summarize that, or to shortcut it, give me just an Arcana check or even a spellcasting check.
Sure. Work with me, dice. 23. I'm alone in here, so I can't get the help.
23. There is a little bit of a complication the first time that you try to do it. Although these things believe you to be Anton, they are programmed to, preserve themselves. I don't think we need to, roll initiative about it or anything. I guess just, if you want to drop 5 hit dice to represent the fact that there was a little bit of a battle before you got them back under control, I feel like that's
Could I have made them go into the demi-plane first, then they can come out?
Actually, that's if you're spending spell slots about it, that's very reasonable.
Yeah, I spent an 8th level spell slot on
for
it.
sure. Then yes, you're able to keep things under control. You don't need to spend additional resources. You do have to kind of it takes you 2 or 3 attempts before you're able to.
Trying to explain, go in the hole.
Yeah.
Go in the hole. Go in the hole.
But yeah, eventually you're able to get them deactivated, which frees up all of the money that they were made of, and that is what goes into all of this 407,000.
All complications. It's fine.
All right.
Free stones, the gray ones you said that animates. What kind of stones are those?
There are a couple of pretty powerful pink sea stones that were used to power them. Double check. They're not super dense, but they're dense enough to be workable.
Okay.
And you guys get another rest, brings it to Sunday. And that is about the time that things start to get at least under control. They're at the point where the guard can start to kind of take things over. Leah begins to kind of start making some connections down in Thorngrove to get things figured out with a fleet. We'll work out the exact number details at some point, probably over the week. However, there is still one looming question. What do you do with the people in charge and with the others that were not in charge but believe that they, can, they just want to go on with their lives?
Firing squad.
Yeah, I don't know. Nordo's 2 cents is like, I think there's some decent people amongst these people, and probably some swindlers too, what are making themselves out as decent people, but ain't. But these ones here, these 36, that Nordo probably can't count that high.
36.
That's 6. Nordo, can you count to 6?
Hold on, I got that many fingers.
Imagine it like, yeah, it's easy. It's just 5 on one, and it's a whole hand and then 1 on another finger, right? That's a
All
6.
right.
Now imagine 6 sixes.
I can't imagine.
That's how many people on this whole goddamn balloon are willing to die by their belief of using slave labor to only benefit themselves, and they have no excuse for it.
As near as I'm concerned, those ones.
Yeah, like honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that's a very small number.
I needed Anton's blood before I got it. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know if I would feel better after it was done, but truth be told, it feels fucking great. And as far as I'm concerned, what happens to these 36 people is up to the people whose lives they ruined. So I say we leave it up to the ones we freed. As to everybody underneath them, they can make their own way, I guess. Get a second chance. Unless we want to put them to use, have them. I suppose we probably ought not just leave them here in Unmirage, because we don't want to put that on Elise, if nothing else. She doesn't need that burden. So maybe we put them on a ship to take them back to Belmaron. They can figure their shit out from there. And just once they're there, they can spread the word that the shit don't fly no more.
There are definitely rumors among those people that have been kind of overheard by the guards that they, if they're allowed to go, the idea is that they're going to caravan down to Thorngrove, and from Thorngrove try to catch ships back to the mainland.
Yeah.
They're content to do that, and if you let them go. So that problem can kind of take care of itself, at least to the extent that they'll be fine caravanning across the desert, which, who knows.
Are there people we're definitely executing?
I think those 36, I don't know if... I think that we should leave it up to the newly freed.
Yeah. Leave it to them.
Decide.
If they do decide to execute them, may I suggest getting Zagana to do the work? I think he will very much enjoy it.
Is that the breaker?
No, not the breaker. Zagana is the disciplinary officer of this place. He's really, really into corporal punishment and executions.
I know there's too many people here that want some blood, but I think the people that have been wronged by them are the ones that ought to get to do the justice.
They must.
Personally.
Would they like axes or bare hands?
I suppose that's up to them. Maybe we should round them up, I guess.
If this is the plan, you do find...
I guess probably what we'll do is, like, if it's up to Nordo, who's not a great planner, like, I don't know, either go door to door or, like, put up flyers or whatever that we're gonna, like, have the people in charge of the Wandering Sun up here on this bridge or whatever, or somewhere, like, at a public square.
Drop them all.
And just, like, it's going to be up to the people that were enslaved by them to decide what happens. So if you are interested in that, come and partake, or just stay the fuck out of it if you don't want to.
Do you want to participate in a free, entirely hypothetical bloodbath? Choose how to arm yourself, maybe.
we laugh at this coming from a modern society where this sort
Yeah.
of thing is.
But this actually happened.
Sounding
I don't
barbaric.
laugh. I want this. I want this.
But yeah, this is like this is how shit got done for a long time, and there are a lot of people who don't want anything to do with this. There are a lot of people who they want to show up. It's a public execution of people that they believe wronged them, and they will gladly show up to watch that public execution. You do find that there is a sizable group of slaves, many of which are recently taken, people that are still very freshly wounded from the grievances that have been put on them, who are more than happy, if given the opportunity, to grab swords. And they're not brutal. They're not going to torture these people. But assuming that you go through with this plan, they will happily execute all of these people. And if that is if you pull the trigger on it, they will perform a public execution for you.
I put these all in the ledgers. Like, oh, this person executed by this method by these people.
Yeah.
Take good notes.
It's kind of an event. I'm not going to go into all the details because it's grotesque, but absolutely.
But fact.
On what?
No.
On the evening of Sunday, November 10th, in Mirage, there is a public execution where the recently enslaved of NSS execute some of the leaders of NSS to rampant cheering and celebration from those who have been freed.
I do ask Ace, and I don't know if he wants to participate in any of this. He might have moral objections, but if he is willing to, like, in his reporter writing style, record these events, and so we can, like, essentially what I'd like to do is send records of these events with all these people that are going back to the mainland to be like, here's what went down on the Wandering Sun. This shit doesn't fly anymore.
Absolutely. He is presumably, and I'll let him override me if he changes his mind later, but I have to assume that Ace is happy to play Spin Doctor here. He is able to kind of like get an official story put together and one that can be sent on all of these ships as they're ferried back from Thorngrove and as they caravan southward. Excellent. Yeah, you guys get a story put together. I think that covers almost everything except for the sun itself, which is currently just like sitting out at the base of the mountain to the west of Mirage. It is completely deflated. The air elementals, unless you tried to keep them around, they buggered off the second you guys touched down and started evacuating.
Oh yeah, I figured so.
Yeah.
If you want to try to keep them around, you're welcome to make a case for it. You know that it's up to you. Do you want to try to keep them around for anything?
No, I don't think so. Unless anybody else does. They've been slaves for all these years too.
Yeah.
They're
Do the
free now.
elementals want revenge? Like, do you want this?
They feel that they've gotten it, and in fact, a couple of them probably would stick. Like, if you try to explain in Primordial the concept that you're going to be holding a public execution in 2 nights, most of these
100%.
things, most of these things are not nearly intelligent enough to be like, oh, if I wait 2 days, I can do a cool public execution thing. There are a couple of them, particularly among the Myrmidons, that are intelligent enough and reasonable enough to understand that, like, what's going on. And a couple of them do join for the public execution on the 10th. Notably, one of them does also stick around. Vasu, when your avatar state ends, you do feel that the Reju is forcefully ejected from you.
After a whole 10 minutes.
After a whole 10 minutes. So this actually would have happened as you were flying back. And it's bizarre. It comes and goes. It dissipates into the wind, and you assume that it's gone forever, but then an hour later, it kind of shows back up. As if to check in on its children that are still towing the balloon.
Just like a real cat.
Oh yeah, in and out all the time, constantly.
Do you want me to leave the door open or not? Come on, like, I just want to go to sleep. If I leave the door unlocked and open, a raccoon is gonna creep in here, but I want to leave it open for you if you want to come in.
Raccoon's gonna creep inside you?
Make up your mind, please. Yeah, like at least 2 raccoons. That's the usual diameter. That's the average.
Diameter.
So we let in a possum once. That was gross.
Oh boy.
I didn't like that.
Possums are so cute.
I didn't actually let in a possum, but that would be terrifying if I did.
Absolutely. once the Wandering Sun touches down,
I have a story about possums for later.
this horde of thousands of elementals disperses. And when it does, the Raiju, kind of content that things are okay for its children and that it doesn't need to monitor them, kind of approaches you, Vasu, one more time and seems interested in merging itself into you once again.
Oh God, that's like a lot of commitment. But like, are you like that's the move you want to make? Like that's you doing that? You're comfortable with this?
You kind of hear a voice inside you that says, "It is a part of me. It wants to be whole again. We will need to find the other pieces and restore it slowly."
By a part of you, I mean, I'm guessing you're talking about the bit of Piarl inside me, right?
Yeah, the
Okay.
I was a full and complete locus at one point, and this is.
I'm gonna roll my eyes at it and be like, okay, well, I get it. I understand that you're more interested in connecting to the the Piarl, the formal locus of the four elements than me personally, but I suppose it's my duty as the new avatar of all four elements. So I'd 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 be personally honored and privileged to have you tag along with us, and what I could learn from you and vice versa, I think that'd be a pretty good deal going on there. If you really want to tag along, I mean that's like you suggested it first. Sorry, I meant to say foist.
Voice.
You suggested it foist.
There's a chuckle. It's like I don't want to understate the importance of you. You are a conduit, a channel for all of this. I need you in order to do any
Yeah,
of this.
I get it. I'm just here. I'm just along for the ride, out of circumstance.
It's more than circumstance, my friend. You've been training your whole life for this. You've studied with your order for how long?
Vasu tries his best not to blush.
As you do, this massive, colossal tiger lion thing, the size of a small sailing ship, jumps on top of you and is absorbed into you.
Sick.
And you can almost feel a strengthening within yourself, as if more of this energy has been restored, as if you're just a little more whole than you were before. Even if channeling some other power, you can feel the ki coursing through your vein. And it does seem that for the time being, it is willing to ride along with you now that its children are free. What
Cool.
that does mean,
As
though,
far
is
as
that the
what
Wandering
we
Sun
do-
is deflated and sitting at the base of
Right.
the mountain. Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Okay, we don't have to drop it on Belmoral. But
Okay.
I'm dead serious about using the corpse of the Wandering Sun to send the message to mainland Willingquet that, like, this has ended and you need to free your slaves and send them to wherever we're sending them to be the refuge spot, or to free them to live their lives, whatever.
Yeah.
But
you-
I've heard that it's too strong for a catapult.
Well, I think the Crescent King plan has no flaws and is perfect.
you
But
mind
either way, I
if
think we
It's perfect.
physically drop it outside the gates of Belmoral.
you mind if I scavenge all its still stones out first?
Of course, it's the symbology that matters. They don't get the actual still stones.
We could use that for like healthcare or whatever.
Excellent. That'll take, another couple days, but you do find that there are several very powerful pink sea stones, including the big one. And
The
you
big
also,
one, I don't know if I can carry that. I don't know what to do with it.
Carry is definitely not an option. Tow with a couple of pack beasts, maybe. And
Okay, cool.
the big thing that you do find, and this is probably just as intriguing to Vasu as it is to you, whatever this bizarre Benoisian filigree is, it means they can be moved, despite being the size of, like, a school bus.
Excellent. I'd like to study that.
Absolutely.
Same.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this will be another one of those projects. This one is the sort of project that maybe with a couple of weeks or months you'll be able to potentially figure out. It's not like a lifelong project. It is a longer term project, though.
This could help save Eisenmar.
The first thing I'm gonna do, because of hopefully just like my background and my knowledge of like knowing how big stillstones work and how they normally don't if you move them, goes. I'd like to just lay out some like charcoal paper and take etchings of whatever this filigree is over the big crystal.
Absolutely. And give me, for no particular reason, a jeweler's kit check.
Oh, I'm good at that.
Advantage +6.
Yeah.
Something's different for you, Basu.
I'm in my zone.
You're glowing. You're like
I'm
a larger
glowing.
hole.
I don't know. It's something about me lately. I just feel like everything's aligning. Like all my chakra and all my ki is on point. I feel like Mercury is in retrograde
Oh,
or
no.
whatever it is, and it's like
Stop. I changed my mind. 31.
Oh God, you wouldn't even believe how like all of my quartz crystals are lighting up in Matrix.
Nomad fully dies.
Vasu, you're able to find that the patterns used in this filigree are very much like a normal filigree that you'd be used to working with as part of a jeweling kit. It is equal parts, at least to your trained eye, magic and art. It is a very beautiful and intricate process, not very dissimilar from making a necklace or a ring or anything else. It seems very much to be the case that this Benoisium material, although not magical itself, clearly has some sort of properties that allow it to interact with magic in a bizarre way. Kind of like lead is good at dampening magic, and emerald is good at canceling magic entirely, or absorbing magic. Diamond is good at enhancing magic. This appears to be another physical material that has a bizarre interaction with magic. And with a 31 and several days of study, you probably don't actually stumble on this for another week or two of study. But to just kind of give you a glimpse ahead so that you can keep track of it. In about a week or two, you'll discover that Benoisium, when crafted into this very fine filigree, allows stillstones to be moved. It allows them to be transported safely. It acts as sort of almost like a Faraday cage for their tethered to the weave. It is an intricate process that requires this special material, some very specialized tools to work with the material, and also a lot of just fine craftsmanship. But it is something that you are good at doing, and it's something that you can kind of learn to do with your jeweler's kit and a little bit of practice.
And is that more a thing to do with Benoisium itself, or like the fine craftsmanship of the material?
A little bit of equal parts both. It honestly feels almost like bardic magic, where music or creativity is used as a way to access the weave. It seems that this is a method of using a special material, Benoisium, and a special form of craftsmanship or beauty as a way to kind of shape an interaction with the weave. You begin to recognize, like, oh, this weird little curly pattern is what kind of gets this edge case and prevents this from exploding, and I need to do this particular braid across this particular segment, and you start to piece together all these tricks, all these methods and patterns that they're using. And over the course of a week or two, you'll learn how to make a Benoisium cage to move stillstones.
So yeah, like kind of supporting that and also asking for just a little bit more elaboration on it. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna ask. I'm sorry.
Okay. If you remember it later, hit me up.
Is that more of a thing that I could focus on, like just like spooling together Benoisium and similar materials, or just Benoisium specifically over downtime? And is it such a specific pattern that I would be able to like spool out some like wire wrapping material in advance?
Gotcha.
Or
kind of. It's definitely a process that you think you could teach to other people. With that said, it's kind of a dynamic process, and what I mean by that is that it's not like a one-size-fits-all solution.
Okay, so it has a bit more to deal with like the specific stones that I'm working with than just like making 100 foot of like silver coil.
Exactly. It's skilled labor. Somebody who knows what they're doing needs to be present to say, like, oh, I need to use this pattern here and this pattern here. So it's not quite like something you can just package and resell, but it is something that you could potentially teach other tinkerers and also other jewelers potentially to do.
So I couldn't just craft a bunch of wire wrap grade Benoisium in advance.
Right.
It's more to deal with like the specific dimensions of the stone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And then let's see, Nordo, part of the plan.
That's more just thinking out loud.
Gotcha.
I don't really do anything with that information yet.
Hold on, doing some logistics. I spent an 8th level slot on Sunday to open the demi plane so we can get the money out. Is there any like other treasures in there? aside from money?
Yes, there's a lot of like gems and art items that I've kind of just condensed down into money.
Still stones and magic items specifically.
Still stones and magic items you do not find. You do see that there are several. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. Yes, some of this wealth is in the form of, I say mundane magical items. What I'm talking about is like, oh, a magic broom that sweeps the warehouse every night. There's lots of little shit like that that I've just kind of converted back into money, assuming that you'll sell it for money.
Gotcha.
But if you want a magic broom that sweeps the warehouse, or like a magic cash register that automatically counts gold, you just call out what you want, and I'll tell you if there is any of that.
Can the cash register be used to just throw on the horde and just count it out?
Theoretically, yeah. It would be like you'd have to feed every piece of gold through it, but sure.
Could I just take the part out and just put it on top of the fucking horde, and it just says a number?
You get the sense that the way this particular thing works is it has to be like fed through a funnel, and it would take some time. But yeah, theoretically, you could maybe repurpose it or something.
Sure, simple as that.
Norda, what's up?
I don't know how in God's name I forgot to prioritize this, but as soon as like slaves are safe and everyone has like sort of gotten stable, I go through the Wandering Sun and get every piece of nuts and NSS shit and just light it all on fire in a smoldering heap. In the
that shit is gone, man.
Yeah, it's too late. You didn't prioritize it. It's your fault.
I know, I didn't.
It's true. I will say that if I assume Gale, and if anybody else wanted to go just fucking bonkers, full on supermarket sweep in the NSS delicacies warehouses, like it's all there. you can
100%.
Oh yeah, Gale is just the ravioli monster for like 24 hours.
Is that where you disappeared to this whole time? You were going to go eat donut nuts.
I don't tell anybody about this.
Oh my god, you're terrible. Why wouldn't you tell me? I'd go.
How did you put on 10 pounds in 2 days? That's like a quarter of your body weight.
Oh my god, I need to draw Chubby Gale now.
No, Chubby Gale. I can imagine
it. It would be so cute.
Because the leg and stuff would still be the same size.
I'm realizing I'm 2 strokes in and I'm realizing I cannot draw this because it'll immediately be interpreted as weird fetish shit. I hate the internet so much.
Well,
so he only eats a few of them.
Whenever Norda goes back to it, he's way too dumb to realize that some of it's like missing or to like suspect anything is afoot. But whatever remains, he will burn every bit of it. Chubby Gale makes me so happy.
I hate it. Looks like a little Charmander.
It does, kind of.
You find Gale in this state.
You can't do what you must have already won.
Yeah, do what you must have already won. It would not inline that message though. I only got this worth it.
Okay, excellent. What are you doing with the balloon?
So I think it might depend on what we're doing with. So can I see a world map real quick?
Yes.
Because it kind of depends also where we're going next, like long term.
Yeah, that is the big question. I know we're probably going to wrap up pretty soon, but because we're going to be off next week and because I need to get a bunch of prep done before we come back.
Money! I just want my money.
Would be good to figure out what you guys are planning on doing next.
I kind of feel like Storm Cellar is our next priority. We did Wandering Sun to try to figure out what we could find out about like the connections there, but really all we found out was like they're making the mind control shit, but there's nothing super useful there, I don't think.
You have like the research they have.
That's true. I guess we could look at the research they did to make that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of why I was grabbing the donut nuts was so that I can try and like reverse engineer some of this stuff.
Sure, it is.
No, actually, give me an investigation check, Gale.
Hey man, I said I was only eating some of them.
I was gonna say, this is you voiced this before. I do actually believe you.
Sorry, that was investigation.
Yep.
Because we can just walk into Storm Cellar, right? We turned off the switch or whatever in the Mechanus.
I think.
Yeah, theoretically, it's just that we don't have any way to deal with the mind control serum stuff.
Right, so we kind of actually do need some information from this.
And by we don't have a way to deal with it, I mean some of you don't have a way to deal with it. That's a problem.
I'm a monk, I'll be fine.
Specifically in the Little Delicacies warehouses, where you find that there were a bunch of Fey employees, and also, for the record, some food golems that need to be dispatched that just seem to be mindlessly programmed. But with the help of some guards and you guys, it's not a big deal.
Food golems? Do they not expire?
Well, I mean, probably, but they were fresh at the time.
Do they look like Grimace?
None of them look like Grimace.
Okay.
I wouldn't dare.
They're
spoil
legally
all of my
distinct.
Awesome food golems until we get there, if we get there at some point.
Okay.
The important thing is that what you find is a lot of these establishments are pumping a chemical through their vents that protects all of the workers from getting high on their own supply, on the mind control that is used. And what you find is that a bunch of these warehouses have a chemical. What is the name of it? I have a name written down somewhere. I'll find it afterwards. But it is literally a charm neutralizing chemical that they pump through the warehouses as like a mist that provides just a blanket de-charming effect.
Some just deeply, deeply dystopian shit.
Oh yeah.
A corporate warehouse that is making their employees produce mind control food, and they have to breathe a gas all day long so they don't get mind controlled by it.
Yeah. But in theory, with a little bit of study, you find that it can be inhaled, it could be put into a water supply, it could be put into food, but it would be a very effective and proven solution for countering the effects of a mind-altering or mind-controlling gas or poison or drug.
What are the side effects?
Very important question. As I huff this immediately, what happens to me?
You
just die.
Do find. I'm double checking. You had a stack of influence, didn't you?
I do.
Yeah. You would notice at first it's almost like not a super noticeable effect, but after a minute and a half or two, you'd start to feel this kind of pleasant high almost. And it takes you a second to kind of realize what's going on, but there is a weight and a tension that is almost pulled out of your neck and your shoulders, like you've been carrying an invisible weight for a month or two. And you can almost feel this snarling evil presence ripped from you. You feel just a little bit more control, a little less ominous. It's clear to you that there was some sort of lingering magical effect that this has neutralized. And it did it pretty rapidly too, over the course of about 2 minutes. You do also notice that the donut nuts don't taste quite as good anymore.
I eat a few anyways.
That's fine. We've all been there.
Yeah.
So
The texture's nice.
It's like when you get to the 9th chicken nugget that you forgot about.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cold and cardboardy.
Yeah.
But you can always eat one more chicken nugget.
Regular chicken nuggets.
It's just all chicken nuggets.
It's just when you start
to
realize what you're eating.
Yeah.
The sudden realization that, this is at least 80% cornmeal.
So I think... So we're already sending all these employees of the Wandering Sun home with flyers by Ace that say, Wandering Sun's over, NSS is over, fuck you, release your slaves. I still feel like we should probably drop the Wandering Sun in a burning heap outside the gates of Balmoral.
Well,
And then I think after that, it's just what logistical plan do we have for the slaves that are released?
We have to drop this as a burning heap somewhere to send a message, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have to. We literally must. And it seems like Balmoral's the place. It's the capital of the kingdom that has got a bunch of slave labor holding it up.
right.
But catapulting it there is apparently a lot of effort.
It is a lot of effort.
It is literally like trying to send a ship into space.
But you don't want it to get all the way out into space because you want it to fall back down on the planet and not into space.
We just
It's a lot of
attach it
math.
to the Crescent King with very weak strings. This is flawless plan.
Yeah.
But
Would this work? Would this work?
And then I guess after that, would come back to like after Leah gets a chance to work out her like, and I'm not asking you to play like the CEO of Greyhound right now, but her logistical plan for getting a fleet together to take any slaves that want to go home to their homes. Like, does she want to make a pass by all of the big cities in Lolinquet? Does she want to pick them up somewhere? But that's logistics.
We'll kind of work that one out long term.
Yeah.
But she definitely is interested in heading that effort. As for the Crescent King plan, read how this shit works.
I mean, I could like pull it down towards the ground rapidly and then pull up, and since I'm small, I'll right and they won't.
Once per long
blow
rest, the Crescent King can teleport, along with its crew and cargo, to any location that can be seen from its helm, as long as there are no obstructions in a straight line to its destination. What?
Alright, so we go to the moon.
As its cargo.
We have to take it to the moon?
If you tell me that an entire city attached to the Crescent King by a few very small threads doesn't count as cargo,
Here's what
then we just have a philosophical difference.
Here's what I know I would allow. If you find some way, some means of getting the Wandering Sun onto the deck of the Crescent King, I would allow it to, at least for a brief moment, count as cargo.
I nistles it to count as cargo.
What if I just post a salty meme?
What if we have this ship that goes in the bottle. Can we get a bottle that eats the ship and then put that ship on top of the other ship while it's in the bottle?
There we go. Now we're fucking
A
cooking.
bottle that eats ships? Oh yeah, how much is fucking the loot on the rest of the NSSC? Did we get all of them?
Yeah, that's all included in that 407,000.
Even their magic items?
Yep. Again, I've just kind of condensed a lot of like mundane magical items down into gold.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, that guy's paintbrush halberd thing. That was clearly a magical item that he used to make paintbrush stuff.
That's a good point.
They had gear on them that was magical that we did not get.
I'm actually straight up going to tell you that is not the case. That was also a personal boon from Ozymandias.
Oh, okay.
And although you were not... Well, I shouldn't say anything. You have not seen anything.
I've only seen the people in that room. I don't know what they got all.
What does this mean?
What?
What Trey posted over here?
Let's see.
Hey, also, what happened to Mac?
Mac is here. He's part of it, and presumably he's one of the 36 who's executed. It becomes very clear that although he is stupid, he has no qualms with slavery. He loves having slaves to take care of him. He's got tons of slaves
He's a demon.
back in his palace.
It's okay. But also, if we kill him, he will just go back to hell.
No, that doesn't make
Demon, he's a giant.
He's a fire giant.
Oh, he's not a fucking demon?
No, he's just a fire giant.
Oh, okay, let's just kill him.
He was just a dude.
Fire giant is not just a dude.
He's just a big dude. Just a very big, flaming dude.
We should probably ask him some questions before we execute
An Elton
him, though.
John among men.
You think this dude can help us?
He might know where Wendy is, or where fucking Delicacy is.
Or were
What's
they
going
hidden
on?
the paperwork that I couldn't
What's-
find because I was a
Or
big
what's
dumb
going
shark?
on Treasure Pineland.
Oh, you probably got that paperwork by now. Like, we got everything.
Okay.
I'm
tried,
assuming
I
we
failed.
took everything from there before we're
You
sending this
took 3
away.
days to investigate. Somebody give me an investigation check for Wendy et al.
Go, Ace. Do it with advantage in a +6. Its minimum is 31.
Yeah, he gets it. Ace would discover during his investigations, Wendy is currently, according to their records, being held captive at Treasure Pineland because she was found to be a spy.
What?
Huh.
Really? Wendy wasn't a bad guy all along.
She's just a bad spy.
That's being very generous. Just because she was caught as a spy does not mean she was a good guy.
She could be a spy for
She
someone
could've-
else, right?
It's
Right,
true.
like she could have been a spy for somebody
All
worse.
true.
She could be a spy for Ozymandias.
Right, like Ozymandias, a
She
spy,
might have just been
right.
real bad at a job. Like we can't.
or a spy for the
Listen,
Order of Balance.
I'm using
or
a little
something.
bit of meta knowledge here, which is that Justin fucking loves Wendy's, and the Wendy is going to be a good guy.
I also fucking love Chick-fil-A, and they murder gay people.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Here's my hill that I'm dying on. In any given town where there is more than 3 Wendy's, or up to 3 Wendy's at least, only one of them is good.
It's like that with Taco Bell
Yeah.
too.
Which Wendy's is it, Feck?
It's the one.
How
that I
many
use-
Wendy's are there? Which one is the good one?
The good one currently is none of the ones near us. The closest good one is the one far to the east by my old house. But none of them will compare to the one that I had back when I lived in my apartment. It was the best.
That's fair.
It's weird each place is vastly different, even though it's the same franchise.
Okay. We'll assume over the course of the week you guys... Well, fuck it. Let's try to get this wrapped up before we move on to the next thing. What do you try to do with the ship? Or with the Wandering Sun?
I say how
Strip everything we need from it.
there's the problem here is that Isaac cannot stand the thought of getting involved in any political intrigue here. But probably what we should do is go put the burning Wandering Sun outside the capital and then ask to like talk to the king and be like, hey,
What I'm comfortable
outlaw
doing...
fucking slavery.
What I'm comfortable doing is if you guys figure out the logistics of how you're going to drop this thing on a city, I will probably leave it to Ace, because it is very up his alley both in and out of character, to do the spin, to do the political, to
Right.
spin this operation.
That's good.
And we can kind of come back to it whenever he's available.
The moon was
Does
mentioned.
does the painting still have a size limit, or did we get rid of that with stones?
Let me check.
I think you upped it. I don't think it is unlimited.
No, I don't think it's. I think the size limit is huge. Let me check real quick. It's not on my character sheet. It's somewhere here. It should be in
Yeah.
party.
I found it. It's loading.
What's its limit?
It's so slow. Fucking roll 20 is so slow. What's the smallest still stone that we teleportation still stone we could just make a one-use consumable that just teleports this thing to outside Balmoral?
A ship teleporter?
Right. A one-time use ship teleporter. City teleporter.
Fuck, this might be overshooting, but I would allow it with a wish. So if you have a 9C stone, I don't know if I can justify it a whole lot lower than that.
Makes perfect sense. That would be shocking to even allow it with that.
Dead body or non-magical object. The Wandering Sun is not a magical object, right? It's just a structure.
It's a structure. It had a lot of magical objects on it, but
It-
you could strip them off.
Its max is only a 20-foot cube.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
need it to be much
This is
bigger than that.
way too.
Question.
Yes.
Hold on.
Also, if we get stuck on this, you can always just leave it here and come back to it when you think of something.
No,
Yeah.
this seems important.
It's
I just
it's
know
not
that,
going
like,
anywhere.
We're level 20. We're goths. Surely we can find a way to make
Please
this
don't say
thing...
that. This usually preludes someone dying. Unless it's me.
Okay,
or Mo.
so the pendant of the 3 Crushteteers.
Oh.
It doesn't say what happens to their possessions when they go back to
God
the
damn it.
outer planes. It says after a minute they are awarded respite for their service, disappearing and returning from whence they came.
Can
Doesn't
we give
say-
them the bow?
Can I give them the Wandering Sun
Just call them back down.
Boy.
and then
After-
just resummon them outside Balmoral with their Wandering Sun?
I have to set a precedent that this doesn't work. It's too good to let this work.
That's the correct decision. You made the right choice.
Yeah.
Great job.
Oh god.
No, all that does is pull them and their current equipment up to their carrying capacity.
Okay.
Aw.
Can we cast Reduce on this thing about 50 times and then just carry it?
We have an hour. Actually, yeah, we can teleport with it. then should be fine.
I don't get why we can't just use a really big bag of holding.
I'm telling you,
Cost.
we still just need. I don't
Two
know. Why
strings.
was there a reason we abandoned the Crescent King plan? Because it didn't count as cargo was the problem.
If you, I'm as a show of mercy, and because I want this plan to work, if you find a way to get this thing on top of the Crescent King somehow, I will let
The
it for
entire thing?
How small would the entire Wandering Sun
Wait,
be
I
if
can
we
just
casted
go underneath
Producer?
it with the air bubble and set the deck on the bottom of the ship on the bottom of the.
That's true. Can we see a picture of the Wandering Sun again, like the map of it?
The wording the
Because
first
obviously
time
it's
you
all
said
deflated now, but
yeah.
I might have to break the mast, but then we can fix it.
Originally, your wording was get it on the deck.
right.
So we can just fucking move the thing sideways and touch it to deck with the Wandering Sun. And it's technically on
okay.
the
So
deck.
how
How big are
large
these little
is
pegs?
how far is this?
I'm realizing now that I have to be so careful with this precedent as well.
Because
Because you could just like do this to anything, right? You could do this to a mountain. You could do this to a castle.
I couldn't get underneath a mountain. We'd have to levitate it in the air first.
Boy.
Well, we can't lift this up as well, technically.
Oh,
Because it's on the ground, deflated.
well, that's dumb. So dumb that I forgot to talk in the accent again.
Yeah, like, okay, wedging the Crescent King under any of these parts is totally doable. There's no reason you couldn't just wedge it under this. I think that if you want to teleport this whole thing... Oh my god. I don't... If the only thing that this was touching was the deck of the Crescent King, even for a split second, I would allow it to count as cargo. But if this is being supported by anything else, if it's on the ground, like, you would have to catch this thing in free fall and then have it touch the deck of the Crescent King, and then I would allow it.
Okay.
I just have to be very careful.
What if
like,
we
you're
cast
literally
reduce
trying
on
to
it
teleport a
and
city.
enlarge?
So if we reduce it and we enlarge the Crescent King, then maybe,
Okay.
just maybe,
Because
for
that works.
1 minute. And then we just have to, fly high enough that we can see fucking Balmoral. Which starts with
How
going
high
to the
can
moon.
that be? Yeah.
But once we're on the moon, then it's fine, because then the thing's weightless. We can easily just set it on top of the Crescent King at that point.
It's weightless on the moon?
Sure. That's how the moon works, right?
Not how the moon works.
Jordan's not a
weight.
scientist.
Okay, so I can, as long as there isn't a hole in the balloon, Vasu, I can skywrite to fill it up again.
Oh,
And we
right,
can just-
Skywright.
We can just fly it.
Thank fuck for Skywright.
We can just fly
Okay.
the whole wherever we want.
Yeah, that's perfect. I totally forgot Skywright. So we just fill it up with Skywright clouds and we just fly it to Balmoral and then let it crash and burn. It's perfect.
How long does Skyride last?
Long enough.
10 minutes a time?
Because we
I
need
like
to
this
sail for
idea.
like 10 days or something.
Yeah.
But alternatively, if you
No,
put enough...
it's concentration up to an hour, and it's a ritual. Like, it's fine.
Oh, so it's fine. You can literally
Yeah.
keep it up for 10 days.
Yeah, as long as somebody
Without
keeps,
sleeping?
as long as somebody keeps greater restorationing me, it doesn't matter.
Alternatively, if we do, if you get it like
Wait,
buoyant,
how many of those do I get with my solar? Or not solar, whatever it was.
surely, Feck, surely.
Wait,
Surely, if we get this thing flying on its own with a Skywright, and the Crescent King is like towing it, surely it is cargo.
I've already said that if you manage to get this thing airborne so that it is not being carried by anything except the Crescent King, I will allow it.
Does that qualify if it's being carried by like, Skywright clouds on the inside, but it's just like a...
The idea of using Skywright to lift this balloon is so fucking absurd to begin with that of course I'm going to allow it.
Fantastic. So use Skywright. So use Skywright to make the Wandering Sun buoyant enough to count as cargo for the Crescent King. We take the Crescent King to the moon, and then we take it from the moon back to outside Balmoral.
Why do
We
you
light it on fire.
Why do you always want to take things to the moon? We can just like teleport straight. Like,
Can we see a straight line to Balmoral?
If we go to the moon, that's an extra week.
That's true. Yeah, we wouldn't.
The
Yeah, we didn't
problem
have time to do
is
that.
unlike Biscuit's world, my world is curved. It is not flat. To have a direct line of sight to Balmoral, you would have to be like very high in the air, like outer atmosphere sort of thing.
Okay, so maybe
the world was originally flat at some point, right?
that's true. That's actually science.
No, that's
So
not
maybe-
actually science.
Well, that's how.
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Right, that's how Lord of the Rings works. So why doesn't it work here?
Because fuck Tolkien.
Do not set this.
Why can't I? Why can't I go through the ocean and get to the moon?
Let me read how this is worded. I think if you could find a way to make it visible from the helm, I think is how it's worded.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Did we determine you could do like a scrying bullshit to make that happen? Or no, you said that was not a thing. I don't think.
Surely,
think you said
okay.
that
I
wasn't
have to. One of you surely has wish.
We could also just
Yeah, I
like,
have wish.
teleport straight, like at a slight up angle, and then drift downward.
That's true. I guess. Can you like dimension door it? Can you say like I teleport to 1,200 miles west? You know, or do you have to choose a point you can see?
Well, you can see 1,200 miles west. It's just
What is the exact wording?
Any location that can be seen from the helm. I think if I can just look up in the sky, we could teleport there, and then fall immediately to our deaths.
Okay.
yeah.
And also
Okay.
suffocate to death because if you go over 10,000 feet, there's no oxygen.
Mr.
Well,
Right.
that's why you don't go that high.
That's pretty
You stay
low.
under the cloud line.
We'll be fine. We have the Void Dragon Heart.
Oh right, there's that.
Also,
And the Crescent King makes habitable air also. So, also I don't know if it's the worst idea to just physically sail this thing there. Like, we could probably use the downtime anyway. Nomad's got 4 mana.
I'm actually way
Yeah.
up now. It's been 4 days.
And it's not super out of the way for Storm Cellar. I mean, it's kind of out of the way. If that's where we're going next anyway, though.
So I had to
Is that
do some research. From 30,000 feet, visibility is about 280 miles. Which would be... let me double check. Let me pull this up. I believe you'd be able to see Valdalance, but not Balmoral.
you can just
could do a
drop it on the
jump.
church at Feldlands.
It's also true. We don't necessarily have to go to Balmoral. The point was more to get it to like a major city. I mean, Balmoral
Outside
being
of Angel City, right?
say Balmoral was like the capital, which is why it seemed appropriate. But I guess if we just took it to Valdalance and
I
you
don't
just
live
could
in
travel
that one, that's
west.
fine.
I mean, Seatoll is even more on the way and a better choice.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No.
Okay,
it's-
so we
it's
teleport. We're not hurting anyone in this city. We're just dropping a burning ship in the ocean outside. I mean,
As long as it's in the
Seatoll,
ocean.
I presume, also has a
Alright.
bunch of slave labor. Yeah, when we were there was a bunch of slave
Right.
labor.
Yeah, there's tons of slave labor there.
Yeah, Seatoll needs this
Okay,
message just as
fine.
much as everybody else.
Mom's
Do
not
you
there
wanna-
anyway. I can buy her a better house with this money. I'm just taking some extra.
We're not putting on anyone's house
Just
as much
outside.
as we should.
But what if there's riots and then they burn down my house?
Yeah.
Do they know where you live?
Does your mom
I
have
mean,
slaves?
no, but it's not. No. I mean, what if they just burn down the whole city? I don't know how riots work.
You don't know how riots work?
No. Mm-mm.
Sounds like Fox News right now.
It's also
I say, I think that we should teleport on the Crescent King with the Wandering Sun inflated with Skywright
Right.
clouds to Seatoll, where we drop the Wandering Sun in a burning heap into the ocean just off the coast of Seatoll.
Does it have to be
Along
burning
with-
already?
Yes, it does. Of course it does. What kind of question is that? And then
Just how do we set it on fire?
Ace sends his political messaging that slavery is over for your slaves, so we're gonna come murder your asses.
Also, Moog just cast Ignite. That's all.
That's literally all it
Moat
takes.
and Vasu,
Moat and Vasu will light that thing on fire, no problem. And then, we just fuck off and sail straight to Storm Cellar and let that fallout happen all on its own with Leah to sort of...
Just kind of refuse to elaborate.
Yeah. Basically.
They'll figure
I mean,
it out.
Ace. The thing is, Ace is going to do the elaborating. He's going to
Okay.
spin it as like a for your slaves, send them to X place. Leah will tell you where they need to get picked up. She's
Okay.
working out the logistics.
We have to figure out which place this X place is. We have time.
He has also done this
yeah.
consistently enough that I'm sure he'll think to do it. He has a way to elaborate very elegantly with his like special Skywrite omen thing, so I'm sure he'll probably
Also,
do that.
like, I assume that would have some kind of advantage when instead of a magical omen, they actually see the burning. Like, that's the omen.
Yeah.
The omen is the real wandering sun really falling in flames from the sky like a comet.
All right. Are we doing this? Are we pulling the trigger on this plan?
I think we should pull the trigger on this plan.
Okay.
Sure.
How much time does it take? Is all. So I can get mana.
Let's find out. Gale, I am going to make you at least roll something for Skywrite to lift a city on Skywrite as a ritual. Give me a.
I mean, if you want, the spell's pretty clear in its description that this would work. But okay,
it is
what do you
crystal
want?
clear.
It is crystal clear that a strong breeze can dissipate the clouds.
Not
how's
if they're
the
in a
breeze get
balloon.
inside the balloon, dog?
We'll call this. I'm gonna set it low because I want this plan to work so bad. Give me a DC 10 spellcasting check.
It's fine. Make it high.
No,
bitch.
Give me a DC 20 spellcasting check.
God.
Whoa, he doubled it. Jesus.
If I was going to be reasonable, I would probably put this in.
It's in the fucking bag.
It is strenuous activity. It takes multiple repeated castings
Wait.
of this ritual. You gonna flash it?
30.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Over the course of an hour or so, I have to assume that these clouds just say, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
No, it's just a Yoshi screaming.
Okay.
I sit there for hours just in the middle there screaming, and that's how I ritual cast it.
At the top of your lungs
Yeah.
until
Therapeutic.
this balloon begins to rise, lifted
Start-
by the Skywrite.
Starts singing Toad Sing Chandelier.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you guys remember like
Just
4
remember-
days ago when I must have had like a prescient vision in my dreams or something when I shared that meme of a kobold being like, "Look what I can do,"
Yeah.
and then the sun explodes. And now Gale's basically doing it.
The wandering sun begins to lift up and up and up into the sky. At some point, you're able to get the Crescent King underneath it and help push from the other end, which speeds things up. Until the air starts to get thin and frigid, the wind starts to get fast. Vasu presumably has to provide some, clean, breathable air. Oh, no, wait, you get the Crescent King. So you guys begin to tow this thing up and up and up until you can almost see the curvature of the earth. And then, with your spyglass, looking at the far edges of the horizon, you see land. And then, a few moments later, you see the green peaks of a distant castle through your spyglass of Seatoll and its Elven Harbor.
Do we set it on the fire now or when we get there?
Good question.
No.
I think when we now.
No.
That might be too dark by the time we get there.
Look, it's huge. It's going to take
Yeah,
a
it'll
while.
take a
for
while.
Oh, yeah,
all
it'll
this
take
to
a while.
And
Might as well
also,
get it started.
right, and it's going to splash down into the water. It's going to get all wet. It's not going to burn properly. You got to start it now.
You gotta start with the wood and not the balloon.
Right,
Start
like
it
you
now.
got to make sure you're starting with the buildings at the bottom so that it'll burn upwards.
Fire goes up.
You do
There's
find...
no people in that, right? We got rid of them all?
No, they're all gone.
Okay.
So,
Everything valuable there's taken.
you find... Fuck me, I don't... Gale probably would already know that this was going to happen. You find after you set the thing on fire, the hot air enters the balloon, much like a hot air balloon. And you
Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid.
and you find all of a sudden that you don't have to scream as loud as you were a second ago. That just through the beauty of pure raw physics, you've created the world's largest hot air balloon.
Guys, maybe we could have just made it a hot air balloon this whole time.
No,
A cloud balloon is
as-
better.
As somebody who did extreme amounts of research for the
It takes
tornado,
so
it would
much.
not work. It's not physically possible.
It definitely helps, but it continues to rise and it continues to burn. You see debris begins to slowly kind of fall off. Black smoke rises up towards the edge of the atmosphere until you've got just a good old raging fire going. A fireball burning bright above the sky in Unmirage. And then presumably you pull the trigger for the teleport.
Oh my god.
Jaeger
Jaeger drew it. The thick gale.
I see it, yeah.
Oh my god.
Adorable.
Praise be.
He doesn't look happy. He's not proud of
It's
it.
because he ate too many fucking donut nuts. Oh my god.
Oh, he's just like a little chunky.
He's just a little
It's like
chunky.
actually cute.
Yeah. What time of day do you do?
Well,
somebody
his
pick-
diet is like wine and donut nuts.
I was gonna say Gale has had an extremely unhealthy diet the entire time that we've known him.
I think probably we do it like, I don't know, like... It needs to be dark enough out that you can see the flaming comet coming
Like-
from the sky, so maybe like
dusk,
just after
right?
sundown, dusk, yeah.
Okay.
Duskish.
Oh boy.
The sky is kind of that dark, chalky blue where it's not quite to the oranges and pinks of the sunset, but it's
Do you guys-
dark enough that, you know, there will be a very nice contrast with the blazing orange comet that you have made. There is a flash, and you find yourselves far, far above the harbor city of Seattle. And although they are too far down to hear their reactions, you can see through your telescope crowds begin to amass on the sides of the harbor. Gawkers look out from the windows of castle. Dock workers look up from their ships as a burning fireball begins to fall from the sky towards the sea. And several people immediately recognize it as the Wandering Sun, the place of business where they have done trade, where they have purchased their slaves, a symbol for the corporate progress that they have made, built on the backs of slaves, unbeknownst to some and known very well to others. You can see that some are horrified, some are excited and rubbernecking, and although it is hard to tell from way up here, there is a chill that seems to go through the spines of every slave, manacled or free, working kitchens or docks alike, as they look up and see this symbol, this place where they were taken once, where they have all been. Every one of them has been processed through this Wandering Sun, now in flames, plummeting in a trail of black smoke towards the ocean.
Remember when we came back from the plane of fire and there were flyers everywhere saying that we were gonna like burn down the world?
Yeah.
I think we might be confirming all of that, but it's fine.
Oops.
All right.
Oops.
As it's falling, I'm gonna go to Luke's myself, and then I'll swim out from the wreckage.
Excellent. Presumably everybody that was still aboard the Crescent King can kind of just like fly out from under it. And it has this like really satisfying, you know, there's enough upwards lift being generated by the heat that it has like a slow descent into the ocean. It would not be D&D if I didn't ask somebody to make a luck check to determine what way the wind carries it.
The fire sets things.
It carries it in a very nice dramatic line across the horizon until it falls pretty harmlessly in the sea.
Beautiful.
Kind of scattered across Scampy Bay. No damage is done to any ships or buildings along the way. It's slow enough that people are able to kind of get out of its path.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed. You know what, actually?
Ace do his thing.
15 is a pretty good luck check. If you want this thing to like fly into a castle or something...
But if there's like another ship distributing slaves around here, it'd be nice if it burnt like into that ship or something.
You know what?
Oh wait.
But there might be slaves
Where's
in it, though.
yeah, no, not that. But where is the NSS facility here?
Oh.
Bear in mind, this is a city that we're dropping on it, so it's not going to just hit one building.
Yeah, but with the
they're gonna
15.
They're gonna be
This
terrorists.
is a bird.
Alright,
Really
fine, I drop it on Flick's house.
With a
specifically.
with a 15, a lot of these ships are able to kind of like quickly get out of the way because they're smaller ships and a lot of them are powered either by elementals or they're just kind of old-fashioned sailing ships. The ships that are slow to turn are the ones that are physically powered, and that happens to include a trio of very large golden-winged NSS ships that are tethered to this green harbor outpost that just are not able to get undocked and get their captains aboard fast enough to get out of the way in time. And the Wandering Sun comes crashing down on a trio of golden-winged SSLC ships, smashes into the tower, and then collapses in a burning heap on the bay.
I'm sure they had plenty of time to get all the slaves off before that happened.
Ace presumably begins to do his ritual to spin this one way or the other, and we'll kind of glance over that until he's able to get a plan together for it. And we'll also wrap up soon because it's getting late. But I do need to know, what are you guys doing next? What's the next plan? There's only like a few things left to do, I think, before we start to wrap things up. Some of these are technically optional. Some of them, I guess technically everything is optional if you don't want to do anything. But yeah, you guys
I think Storm Cellar. I think Storm Cellar's our next best bet. We're close to it. We have the magic gas. We got what we wanted from the Wandering Sun to make that happen.
Can we mass produce this gas?
Theoretically, yeah, you could start to synthesize it. It definitely has recipes for how to make more of it. And also, there was just a fuckload of it to begin with.
Sweet.
So, like, Gale has an enormous supply of this formula.
We just need to find a place to kind of slot it in. There's probably vents.
I mean, I think that's what they did to begin with, right?
Yeah, there should be.
It sounds like they're like pumping the mind control gas into Storm Cellar already, so we could just replace it with
swap.
With the break the mind control gas.
Gale is literally an engineer from this town. He would know that based on just the design of the place, the fact that it is all a cave and that they have to cut off access to the outside in order to prevent the storms from getting in. There is a special cavern that has like a good airflow that they tend to use for just... It would be very easy to like, potentially release a gas there that would hit the whole city. There's also like a water supply. You could try to slip it into the food supply. There's lots of options. But yeah, you guys can come up with something.
I think we should make a bunch of donut nuts that have this mind control breaker in them and distribute donut nuts in the Storm Cellar. Kobolds love donut nuts in my experience.
Kobolds do love donut nuts.
When you look at the box of donut nuts, there's a kobold on it enjoying it.
So from these sort of plot hooks that we're looking through, the hell option is like go to the astral plane and follow it to hell, or is it like go down through the portal and
the thing that the mother is like plugging up?
Yeah.
What's our lead on that?
Theoretically, both are possible. Tapiki's quest was to find the star chart to go through the astral plane and use that, because presumably that will take you directly to the heart of her lair, instead of having to go through the labyrinth-like maze that surrounds her fortress.
Great.
But, in theory, you could also just go through the hole that the Deep Mother is blocking.
So it's Storm Cellar, Tapiki quest. I feel like find a way to fuck up Ozzy is not on the table right now because we don't know what that way even is at this point. The Mind Flayers, we don't have like a solid lead on either, right? They're just like going from heart.
So
I do have a question about that.
Yes, hit me. I might also have a thing for it.
So Nomad witnesses this spectacle, this show of like freedom and unity.
Absolutely.
Against adversity. What does he feel? What do the Mind Flayers feel?
It is something that not just you and your faint connection to the hive mind, but also everyone else who has been part of this Elbrock connection feels that not only is there kind of this sense of personal victory, but when Ace begins to spin this with his skywrite, with his ritual, and when there is this mass liberation, this mass understanding that a victory has been achieved here, that there is a celebration to be had, and especially deep into the night, as these slaves start to realize that they have backup, they have support, they have leaders that are willing to stand up for them, and that a victory has been won for them. There is like a magical sense of empowerment that all of you can feel You have the best night's rest that you've had in a very long time. It's very clear. Most of you have dreams of like faces that you have never seen, but they feel familiar. They feel like you recognize them, that are cheering you on. It's very clear that there is some sort of a magical recognition of the deeds that have been done here. And Nomad would kind of also have an additional sense, these fleeting visions, these fucked up psychic nightmares of aberrations writhing in pain. It's very clear that something has been harmed by this and that you have a faint connection to that something. You can see these just like tentacles writhing and twisting, black streaks of veins like their blood is being tainted, eyes squinted in horror.
Do I sense that as Legion?
It definitely seems like Legion is in pain and you can feel some of it.
Take it in.
Yeah.
Take it in. Accept it. It's freedom, bitch!
It reminds you very, very much of the Mind Flayer that you saw in Arcturus that was writhing in pain as the souls fought against it from the inside out.
I forgot that was our like sort of angle at the Mind Flayers right now. It's just like do large scale good deeds because we don't really know where they are. Right? They're just seeking out all the Elrond mines.
Yeah, that's why smashing it into a city was like, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not do that one. Going and talking to Moat's Order feels like not a like super concrete.
Is that right here in Balmoral? Should we just go?
Isn't it in Bromrose?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we could do that.
Where is it?
South.
Well, that's far.
I think it's like equidistant versus Storm Cellar, probably. It was like
Yeah,
towards
we're
the
like
opposite
right in the
direction.
middle.
We don't also have a plan for it, and we do
That's the
have
thing,
a plan
I'm
for
like
Storm Cellar.
Say the plan for Moat's Order is to be like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah, Mo, what do you have planned for that? He's still here.
Dead.
He might be dead. I know that Kingdom also has
He may
to
be
pass out
dead.
right now. I know he works soon.
Yeah, I don't know if he had a solid plan as much as just like he wanted to talk to Renner and be like, hey, what the fuck? Why did you send
fuck is
what's
up
her
with
name
that?
to do the opposite of the thing you told me to do? But I think we have a better and more concrete plan in Storm Cellar. And then also
yeah. There's also the
points us-
blue, the blue order.
Blue Order.
We have nothing with that either.
Yeah, we got nothing. I mean, like we know where they are, Hellsfly Trench, but we don't have any like direct connection to it or.
We only have Ace's. What's her name? Book flip or something.
Uno.
We
Uno.
can just call it
Uno.
too.
I don't think Uno has anything to do with Hellsfly Trench.
I mean, isn't she part of the blue order?
No, she was part of Ozymandias' cult of spiderweb people.
She's not druid, right? She's this wizard.
You're thinking of Varder. Varder is
Varder, bastard.
Nor does Team call it. He's only adventuring now because he owes you guys one. He's ready to go home and retire now. It's not entirely true. Yeah, I think Storm Cellar next would be my.
Excellent. We've still got a couple weeks to get it sorted out. We will be off next week because of FWA, but I will start prepping things in that direction.
Cool. I'm gonna bounce y'all, but I'll see most of you on Monday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good luck with house stuff.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
It's a nightmare.
What a nightmare.
Good luck.
Bleh.
It's not that bad. Bye forever.
Goodbye.
Bye forever.